If you like the story, you can support the author on Patreon. Link is in the description.
Chapter 151, Student Council. Duel Academy, Student Council Office. Hey? Senpai. Kira looked a bit surprised upon entering. It's you. The rather attractive upper-class woman in front of him was surprised, too. She was Sekiko Hinata. Duel Academy's Miss Contest winner for 2 years straight, only to be dethroned in her 3rd year by the freshman Alexis Rhodes, which seemed to awaken some strange new attributes in Yuri. Kira nodded in understanding. So you're a student council officer, too? Of course, I'm the president of the student management committee. Who could be better suited for management than the academy queen herself? Sika brushed her hair back. So, what brings you to the student council? She had a bad feeling. Kira was surprised. So this senpai was the student council president. And an old acquaintance, too. Oh, nothing much, just wanted to ask if the student council is recruiting, Kira said. Sika frowned. Technically, they were still recruiting. This year the student council was short-staffed. But that was only for staff, not monsters. They'd heard about the duel club's situation this semester. Ever since a certain freshman joined, things had gotten difficult to describe. The new members of the duel club were all grumbling. There seemed to be an unusual aversion to club duels. For a club known for the strongest card addiction in the academy, this was unprecedented. Ironically, the other club students were showing more interest in the duel club's matches. Even Sika knew some student council members who loved to go watch the duel club duels and return in high spirits. As one of the earliest members of the Kira's Victims Club, Sika could understand why this was happening. And now, the culprit himself was standing in front of her, wanting to join the student council. What was this? Was he going to turn the student council into the next duel club? Just the thought made her shiver. The trauma of being crushed by lava golem and nightmare wheel came flooding back. No, sorry, but the recruitment window is closed. That's what she wanted to say. But just then, another council member cheerfully spoke up. Hey? This student wants to join? That's great, we're short-handed right now. Sika. She glared at them. You talk too much. Council member. What? Weren't we recruiting? That's great, Kira smiled. I look forward to working with everyone. With that said, Sika couldn't say anything more. Besides, she'd heard of Kira's reputation. Supposedly even the notoriously strict academic affairs office gave him special treatment. The student council was nothing. If he wanted in or out, so be it. Fine. Then welcome to the student council, Fujiki Kira, Sika said weakly. Her tone was completely devoid of welcome. The other officer immediately started clapping, but as he did, he was trying to recall Fujiki Kira. Where had he heard that name before? Council member. His smile vanished. He suddenly realized why the president had been so opposed to letting new recruits in. A chill ran down his spine. It was over. He'd just made an irreparable mistake. Oh, by the way, isn't there a tradition that new members have to duel as an initiation? Kira grinned, showing his duel disc to Sika. Senpai, how about a rematch? Sika flinched. For a moment, Kira's sunny, handsome face overlapped with the memory of Lava Golem. She waved her hands desperately. And no, I'm not feeling well today, so maybe not. Besides, I'm rebuilding my deck, it's not ready yet. Next time for sure. So Kira turned to the council member who'd spoken up. He felt a chill. He was doomed. Sika looked coldly at him. Well then, Sato, why don't you handle the welcome duel? As if to say, you let this troublemaker in, so you can deal with the consequences. Sato grimaced, wishing he could slap himself for speaking out of turn. But just then, he had a brainwave. Oh, right. President, that thing we've been too short-handed to handle. Maybe Kira's the perfect candidate. Oh. Sika considered. You might have a point. She turned to Kira to explain. The student council does have a troublesome task. It's not a huge issue, and it's not that urgent. There's a club that failed multiple reviews, and the academy decided it's no longer necessary. It's been ordered to disband, but the members won't comply and are still occupying their club room. Kira understood immediately. The classic disbanded club refuses to leave. He could name 10 anime with this plot. So the job was to persuade the students to vacate the room. It's pretty simple. This is Duel Academy, after all strength in dueling decides everything. Sika said. So, if you beat the club president in a duel, they agreed to give up the room. So what's the problem? The club president is tough, Sato said. And we're short-handed lately. The last strong seniors just graduated, and none of us feel confident beating him. I see. Kira didn't know which club it was, but the club president sounded like a worthy opponent. He was here to duel anyway, and if he could earn some rewards along the way, all the better. Alright, so where's the club room? Kira stood up. I'll go take a look. Chapter 152, The Special Club. When Kira finally found the small club facing disbandment, his expression turned odd. To put it simply, this was the Waifu Card Research Club. A club dedicated to studying cute, beautiful, and scantily clad spirit waifu cards. Kira's first reaction was, why disband such a great club? Honestly, he thought this research focus had real potential. Everyone knows that in Yu-Gi-Oh!, mecha, dragons, and women are the eternal truths. Mix and match these three, and you get a new series that is both marketable and competitive. So Kira figured the club's only problem was that it was ahead of its time. All the strongest waifu cards he could think of were future cards. In the early days of Yu-Gi-Oh!, dragons were still more popular. But regardless, the club's disbandment was set. As the student council's enforcer, when Kira entered the club room, the members reacted like they faced certain doom. Kira had fought plenty of public duels since enrolling, and his match against the Paradox brothers, as a legendary duelist, had caused a stir on campus. By now, almost everyone knew him. So when they saw he was the one sent by the student council, the club members shuddered in unison. Their hearts went cold. Club president Shimizu Hiroichi donned his dual disc with a solemn face and strode out to meet the challenge. President. One member called. You don't have to face an opponent like this. But President Shimizu paused, then turned and smiled at his club mates. I fight for all that I love, he said, standing proudly in the light. Even if I'm doomed today, I must step up. Never forget your burning love for beautiful spirit girls. President. The members were deeply moved. We'll never forget you. Go with pride. Kira. It's just a duel, guys, is this necessary? To an outsider, it looked like a shadow game or something. Come on. President Shimizu stepped forward, dual disc at the ready. Let the student council witness our resolve to protect our beloved spirit girls. Kira readied his dual disc, but his feelings were complicated. With lines like that, anyone would think I'm some final boss here to steal their waifus. Duel. X2. Kira, LP 4000. President Shimizu, LP 4000. I'll go first. Draw. President Shimizu said. I set a monster and a card face down, then end my turn. My turn, draw, Kira said. I activate the spell card Graceful Charity, draw 3, discard 2. He slid 2 cards into the graveyard, then played 4 more cards in quick succession. I set a monster and 3 back row cards. Turn end. President Shimizu frowned. Playing defensively on the second turn? Was his strategy really as trap-heavy as the rumors said? No matter. A few traps? He'd break through them with his burning love. My turn, draw. President Shimizu said. I activate quick play spell Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy your center back row. I'll chain that card, Kira replied, quick play spell Scapegoat. Special summon 4 sheep tokens to my field. Sheep token, def 0x4. Shimizu, a defensive monster, hey. 4 tokens at once, a tough wall to break through. Then I flip my set monster Shadow Tamer. A beautiful blue-haired woman appeared, with a revealing outfit and long boots, holding a suggestive whip. Shadow Tamer, ATK 800. No surprise the Waifu Card Club president had good taste in monsters. But then Shimizu pulled another card. I activate the spell Transmodify. Send a monster you control to the graveyard, special summon a monster from your deck with the same type and attribute but 1 level higher. So I send my level 3, Warrior/Earth Shadow Tamer to the grave to special summon. He placed the card from his deck. Warrior of Zera. Warrior of Zera, ATK 1600. Kira. What happened to your burning love for waifu monsters? How'd you immediately sacrifice her for a big buff dude? As if reading his mind, President Shimizu puffed out his chest. To protect the realm of waifu monsters, I'll use any power necessary, he declared. Our bond with the spirit girls won't be broken by something like this. Kira nodded in understanding. Such a convenient bond, it's no wonder they're getting disbanded. XD. I activate the field spell, the sanctuary in the sky. The environment changed as the card was set, a holy temple appeared among the clouds, wrapped in light. Now our duel's field is ruled by the angel's domain. Shimizu drew another card. Next, I tribute my warrior of Zera. The sacred warrior ascends the sanctuary, returning as an archangel. Archlord Zeruto, summon. A dazzling holy light enveloped the green-armored warrior. He evolved in the light, sprouting shining wings, and descended wielding a mighty blade. Archlord Zeruto, ATK 2800. Archlord Zeruto can't be normal summoned. But with the sanctuary in the sky on the field, you can special summon him by tributing Warrior of Zera. Shimizu declared. And he has an even stronger effect. By discarding a light monster from my hand, I can destroy all monsters you control. The Waifu Card Club members started cheering. As expected of the president. He summoned our strongest ace right away. Go for it, show him our devotion to spirit girls. Kira. You say that, but your ace is still a big buff dude. Archlord Zeruto's effect. I discard the light monster White Magician Pikaru from my hand, to destroy all your monsters. Another Waifu card, mercilessly discarded as cost, this time a lowly spellcaster. The archangel spread his wings and swept his blade, sending a storm toward Kira's field. But Shimizu wasn't done yet. And that's not all at this moment. He pressed a button on his dual disc, his set card flipped up. Trap card, Balance of Judgment. If your opponent controls more cards than you have in hand and on the field combined, you can draw cards equal to the difference. He pointed to Kira's field. I chain it to my Archlord Zeruto's effect. Even though I've discarded my hand as cost, Zeruto's destruction effect hasn't resolved yet. You have 5 monsters and 2 set cards, 7 in total. I have Archlord Zeruto, Balance of Judgment, and Sanctuary in the Sky, 3 in total. So I draw 4 cards from my deck. He swiftly drew 4 cards. Chapter 153 Lava Golem, blame me? Honestly, this combo is pretty powerful on the field. Just before the Archlord wipes the board, a chain with Balance of Judgment is activated, and before the explosion, Shimizu even uses Kira's field to draw a bunch of cards, quickly reloading his hand. Then, right after the draw, a storm sweeps the field. 4 sheep are destroyed in turn, and the set monster card is also shattered, briefly revealing a sinister red canine creature before its body is pierced and shattered as it leaves the field. The monster you destroyed was Doomdog Octhros, Kira said. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, I can add a level 8 fiend monster from my deck to my hand. President Shimizu frowned. Level 8 fiend? What's that supposed to be? I'll add a level 8 fiend from my deck. Kira revealed the card he fetched. Lava Golem is added to my hand. President Shimizu, Nanny. He happened to witness President Sika being tormented by this level 8 beast in the past and laughed at the time, so of course he remembers this card. Why does your big boss monster even have a searcher? President Shimizu started to sweat. But he quickly calmed down. Stay cool. Lava Golem needs to eat 2 monsters from the opponent's field to be summoned, so as long as he keeps only 1 monster on the field, it'll be stuck in Kira's hand. He only had Archlord on the field, so Lava Golem shouldn't be able to come out. And with the opponent's field cleared, it's a perfect chance to attack. Archlord Zeruto, direct attack. President Shimizu ordered. The Archlord flapped its wings and leaped into the air, and the sword light slashed straight ahead. Then I activate my set card, said Kira. Trap card, Dimension Wall. The battle damage is reflected to your opponent instead. For a moment the space in front of him seemed to warp, as if a reflective dimension wall appeared. The Archlord's sword light was absorbed, only to bounce back along the path it came. A damage reflection card. President Shimizu was shocked. The sword aura screamed toward him, but just as the damage was about to hit, a burst of holy light erupted from the misty temple. The divine glow shielded him, blocking the reflected sword energy. Field spell, Sanctuary in the Sky effect, President Shimizu said. As long as it's on the field, all battle damage to me from fairy monsters becomes 0. Archlord Zeruto is a fairy, and the dimension wall's reflected damage is still battle damage, so I take no damage. The onlookers finally breathed a sigh of relief. Thank goodness. As expected of the president, even such a nasty move was blocked. The president was their greatest confidence. Even among the second years, Shimizu was one of the strongest, that's why their club had survived till now. My turn is over, President Shimizu declared. Do you see? This is our burning obsession. This club room is our sanctuary. No one can take it away. No, I only saw you sacrificing a girl and losing another in a single turn. Kira silently snarked as his turn began. My turn, draw. Kira said, since your archlord wiped the field last turn, I have no monsters now. So I activate card of adversity from my hand. If your opponent controls a special summoned monster and you have none, draw 2 cards. Anime card. Kira calmly drew 2 cards. President Shimizu narrowed his eyes, staying alert. The only card in his opponent's hand that he knows is Lava Golem, but it can only be summoned by tributing 2 monsters, so he shouldn't have to worry for now. I activate the Shallow Grave from my hand. Each player selects a monster in their graveyard and special summons it in defense position. Original effect. A spell card that appeared in the GX anime, but was changed to revive monsters in face-down defense position in the real game. President Shimizu's expression twisted, Nanny. He almost spat blood. Wait, why are you helping me summon a monster? Annoyed, he silently picked a card from his graveyard. I revive Shadow Tamer. Shadow Tamer, Def 700. Kira, I special summon the Boganian I discarded last turn in defense. Boganian, Def 1000. A round mechanical head with a giant single eye, a metal crossbow in front creepy. You could tell from the art it was one of Merrick's monsters. President Shimizu already realized what was coming, but was powerless to stop it, watching helplessly as his beloved monsters were abused. I tribute President Shimizu's Archlord Zeruto and Shadow Tamer. Special summon this powerful monster to President Shimizu's field. Kira, as expected, revealed the big boy. Awakened from the abyss of lava, with the power of destruction and rebirth. Level 8, Lava Golem. The Archlord and the poor Whip Queen both melt in the lava, and the blazing demon surges up. The big fellow smokes, eyes hollow, as if a twisted iron cage under high heat traps Shimizu inside. Lava Golem, Def 2500. Ah, my monsters! President Shimizu clenched his fists, gritted his teeth, and unconsciously looked up only to meet the blank stare of the lava-covered golem. It almost seemed to be smiling at him. A bit like saying hi, and a bit like mocking him. Next, activate Card of Burial Magic, Kira continued. By banishing 3 spell cards from the graveyard, draw 2 cards. Original card. He showed the 3 spell cards being banished. I banish the Shallow Grave, Scapegoat and Graceful Charity from my graveyard to draw 2 cards. After drawing, a slight smile crept onto his face. His smiled President Shimizu's heart skipped a beat. Shimizu had a sense of foreboding. Since I summoned Lava Golem this turn, I can't normal summon, Kira shrugged. So, I set 3 cards and end my turn. Another 3 set cards. President Shimizu took a deep breath. Who knows what's coming next? But for the sake of their club, for its survival, even if he knows it's hell, he must press on. My turn, draw. At this moment, Lava Golem's effect activates, Kira said. During the controller's standby phase, take 1000 damage. Ugh! Fiery lava pours down. Trapped in the cage, President Shimizu gets scalded from head to toe. President Shimizu, LP 4000-3000. Damn it! He gritted his teeth. But don't think it'll be that easy to make me give in. Activate set card Continuous Trap Judgment of the Desert. Kira said. While this card is on the field, all face-up monsters can't change their battle positions. President Shimizu. He instinctively looked up at the lava golem above. It was looking down at him, hands spread helplessly. See, I'm stuck in place by the trap. You'll have to save yourself. President Shimizu. Lava Golem was summoned to his field in defense. If he can't change its position, he can't use its 3000 ATK to attack, it's just a burden burning off 1000 LP per turn. President Shimizu took a deep breath, pressing his hand to his heaving chest to calm down. Stay calm. Don't get mad. There's still hope. He still has plenty of LP. As long as he can organize a counterattack before being burned to death. I'll activate another set card. Kira set another card. Continuous Trap Rivalry of Warlords. While this card is on the field, both players can only control one type of monster, neither can summon monsters of another type. President Shimizu was stunned. Hey? What the hell? You can only control one type of monster, so that means... He was dazed for a few seconds, then slowly looked up. He met the lava golem's gaze again, the golem innocently pointing at its dumb head. Almost like, blame me. President Shimizu. Lava golem is a fiend. Meaning, now he can't summon any non-fiend monsters. President Shimizu. Isn't this game over? His calm facade instantly shattered. The composure he'd maintained up till now vanished. This dumb golem ate my big monsters, can't attack, burns my LP every turn. All that, he could tolerate. But now you're telling him this dumb thing is also locking his monster types, so he can't even summon anything? What the hell is this duel? Chapter 154 Prison Break Fail. President Shimizu looked at his lava golem, then at Rivalry of Warlords in the back row, then at his handful of cards he couldn't play. For a moment, he was dazed. He suddenly felt that the animated high-temperature cage effect of lava golem was all too fitting. It perfectly reflected his mood in this duel. Jail. This isn't a duel, it's jail time, it's serving a sentence. Even his burning passion for the club was almost extinguished. For a moment, he thought, whatever, let the club be destroyed, as long as I can get out of jail and away from this duel. But then his clubmates' voices rang out. Hang in there, President. Don't give up. Remember all our memories in this room. If the club room is taken back, what will happen to all our doujinshi and study CDs? President Shimizu shuddered. That's right. He had things he had to protect. He had a reason to fight. How could he fall here? He looked up again, fighting spirit reignited. Kira was momentarily speechless. Did I just overhear something I shouldn't have? The duel's not over yet, I still have a chance. President Shimizu declared. I activate Pot of Greed from my hand. Draw 2 cards. Let me show you a miracle draw powered by my burning love. Activate set card quick play spell quick summon, Kira responded, flipping another card. I can normal summon a monster from my hand. Original card. A generic card from the GX anime, used by both Jaden and Zane. President Shimizu frowned. Quick summon, chaining to Pot of Greed at this moment? He's going to summon something? I tribute Boganian on my field, Kira said. Nemesis of spell cards, the sealing machine. Spell canceller, summon. Spell canceller, ATK 1800. As long as spell canceller is on the field, neither player can activate spell cards, and all spell card effects are negated. President Shimizu almost threw his dual disc. Motherfu. Monsters can't be summoned, spells can't be played. Are you determined to stop me from dueling? By the time Pot of Greed resolves, spell canceller is already on the field, Kira smiled. So Pot of Greed's effect is negated. What a shame, senpai. You won't get to see your burning miracle draw. President Shimizu. For a moment, he doubted Kira's motives. Is he here to do business or just to pick a fight? If it's the latter, he's already succeeded. I end my turn. There wasn't anything else he could do. My turn, draw, Kira said. Before the standby phase, I activate set card, trap card back to the front. Special summon a monster from your graveyard in defense. I special summon Boganian in defense. Boganian, def 1000. Boganian's effect, during your standby phase, inflicts 600 damage to your opponent. The trigger pulls, and a metal arrow flies. President Shimizu clutches his chest and staggers back half a step. President Shimizu, LP 3000-2400. In modern Yu-Gi-Oh! This card might be weak, but Boganian was the core of the old Disruptor Canceller deck. Back then, monsters with steady burn effects were rare, and Boganian was one of them. Also, it's machine type like Spell Canceller, so it isn't restricted by Rivalry of Warlords. Incidentally, Lava Golem is also a staple in Disruptor Canceller when needed, the tactic can shift to Lava Canceller, just as effective. Kira, set 1 card, end my turn. President Shimizu, my turn. Standby phase, Lava Golem's effect, Kira smiled. Take 1000 damage. President Shimizu, ugh. President Shimizu, LP 2400-1400. Once again scalded by lava, President Shimizu gritted his teeth. At this rate, next turn Boganian will deal another 600, leaving him with just 800. On his next turn, Lava Golem will burn another 1000, ending the duel. But even so, with a handful of monsters that can't be summoned and spells he can't play, what could he do? He glanced at the card he just drew, eyes lighting up. There's hope. His deck hadn't abandoned him. Set a card, end turn. My turn. Kira drew, Boganian deals another 600 damage. President Shimizu, LP 1400 800. Another arrow to the heart, and Shimizu winced. TCH, shot after shot, annoying like a fly. Don't worry, President, it'll be over soon, Kira smiled. Set another card, end turn. Indeed, on Shimizu's next turn, Lava Golem would burn another 1000, ending the duel. But... my turn. At this moment, I activate set card trap card Ballista Squad. President Shimizu roared. I tribute a monster on my field to destroy any card on your field. I tribute Lava Golem to destroy your spell canceller. The club members who had lost hope were instantly excited. He got rid of both Lava Golem and spell canceller with one card. Now the president has no monsters, so the rivalry of warlords is lifted. And he won't take Lava Golem's burn anymore. He's alive. Lava Golem vanished in a burst of light, spell canceller was blasted away, and the freed president howled at the sky. I'm out of jail. And with spell canceller gone, I can use spells again. President Shimizu was reinvigorated. His persistence and burning passion had brought a miracle. He had monster reincarnation and the warrior returning alive in hand. One could reclaim a monster from the grave by discarding a card, and the other could return a warrior-type monster. By retrieving Warrior of Zera and Archlord Zerato, he could recreate his killer combo and summon his ace once more for a counterattack. Activate set card, Kira said. Trap card Ojima Trio. Special summon 3 Ojima tokens to your opponent's field. Ojima token, def 1000x3. No sooner had Lava Golem left than the trio of tokens swarmed onto the president's field, like guards changing shifts. Ojima Yellow brought snacks, excuse us. Ojima Green opened a newspaper, pleased to meet you. Ojima Black started snoring, zzzzzzz. President Shimizu, about to play a card, froze. The members, mid-cheer, were also stunned like statues. A bleak wind blew through the silent field. Only the tokens were snacking, reading, and snoring. As soon as Lava Golem left, the Ojima trio took over, and rivalry of warlords remained active. If there was any change for President Shimizu, it's that his summoning restriction switched from only fiends to only beasts. Out of jail, but not really. A fake out, he'd only changed his jailers. He was still stuck, unable to play. President Shimizu's face twitched. You. If the president isn't doing anything, it's my turn again, Kira smiled. Draw. Then, in the standby phase, Boganian deals 600 damage. President Shimizu, LP 800 200. Another arrow pierced his heart, making him want to cough up blood. Then I normal summon Submarinoroid, Kira said politely. Submarinoroid, ATK 800. Of course, Submarinoroid and Boganian are both machines, so rivalry doesn't restrict their summoning, Kira smiled. And this card can attack directly, ignoring monsters. President Shimizu. Submarinoroid, direct attack. The little submarine, with its trademark smug look, floated up. A torpedo shot over the heads of the 3 tokens. Boom. A torpedo landed, water vapor and explosions spreading as the president was blasted to the ground. President Shimizu, LP 200. Final blow delivered, Submarinoroid descended, its anthropomorphic eyes full of swagger. The invincible submarine stands tall. Chapter 155 got the sponsorship. President Shimizu was almost delirious as he signed the student council agreement. The club members were emotional, chanting the president's name and saying things like "Remember our bonds." Whatever that meant. It was no use. After signing, President Shimizu let out a long sigh. Come to think of it, I'm not young anymore. My best days are behind me. Whatever, it's all fleeting. Cards, duels, whatever, none of it matters anymore. The members looked grief-stricken. They could tell, this duel not only lost them the room, it broke their president's spirit. They all turned to the culprit, a wave of sadness rising in their hearts. They knew they were wrong to occupy the club room, but using someone like this against them? The student council was ruthless. Sure, they met up to read some questionable stuff sometimes, but it wasn't worth this. It's done. Student council member Sato adjusted his glasses, surprised to see Kira return so quickly. Yep, Kira said simply. Their club is nice, everyone is friendly, easy to talk to. We just had a little duel, I explained things, and they quickly agreed with me. Look, the president signed. Sato checked. Sure enough, President Shimizu had signed. He was stunned. He'd met these guys before, and Shimizu was never reasonable, always going on about burning love and bonds, never listening. He thought even winning a duel might not be enough, maybe they'd try to cheat. He didn't expect this legendary newcomer to settle it so fast. Could his dueling be as devastating as rumored? But then, Student Council President Sika shook her head. You wouldn't understand unless you've dueled him yourself. Like a survivor speaking from experience. Sato. Anyway, thank you, Kira, Sika said with a smile. Here's your extra credit and you can pick one card at random from these 10, as a newbie bonus. The duel club had a similar perk, but Kira remembered he didn't see anything he wanted then. He glanced at Sika's list. Nothing spectacular, but one card piqued his interest. AD Changer, Level 1, ATK 100. Effect, banish this card from your graveyard to change the battle position of any monster on the field. Not particularly strong, but useful and rare. Good for specific combos, and with his current luck, definitely worth considering. Having found a card and claimed his reward, Kira left the student council satisfied. In the office, Sika crossed her arms and showed a hint of a scheming smile. Though she'd been wary of Kira at first, thanks to Sato, she now felt having such a powerhouse in the student council wasn't a bad thing. After all, this is Duel Academy. Many student management issues require dueling. Next time there's trouble, students breaking rules or refusing to cooperate, the council can say, you have a few days to comply. Otherwise, we'll have to send in our ace to supervise. Most students would get the message. The more Sika thought about it, the more feasible it seemed. She couldn't help but smile, imagining troublemakers being forced into duels. Nice one, Mr. Runner-Up. Kira praised Misawa as he received a newly made card. He was holding Mizuki, a zombie monster. Many real-life duelists would recognize this card, a top-tier zombie staple, still useful today. But in the original manga, Mizuki's effect was at the start of your next turn after it's sent to the grave, banish it to special summon a yokai from the grave. Yokai was a manga-only type, but Kira found that yokai was effectively a branch of zombies. All of Misawa's manga yokai cards became zombies in the real game. With Kira's guidance, Misawa upgraded Mizuki from manga to a real card. Now it could banish itself to revive any zombie from the grave, at any time. A huge improvement. Kira's praise was genuine. While he gave direction, Misawa's quick work showed he had great talent. Maybe he should have been a researcher, not just a duelist. No, you're even stronger, Misawa replied seriously. I've had Mizuki for so long and never thought of improving it. Just lucky, I guess. I doubt it's just luck. Alexis appeared at the lab door, smiling. I never expected to find hidden potential in cyber angels. But the more I research, the more I see you're right. We're close to a breakthrough. Misawa studied Kira. Not just a strong duelist, but this talented at card design too? Honestly, I find it hard to believe you only started this semester. Kira shrugged. He was telling the truth, but if they didn't believe him, so be it. Oh, by the way, I got us some sponsorship recently, Kira added. Kaiba Corporation's foundation will be funding us. Misawa. Alexis. Just like that, he got sponsorship from Kaiba Corp? Both exchanged glances. They sensed gossip. Chapter 156. The teacher has a friend. Even Lyman, who was usually the picture of calm with his impeccable acting, was nearly left speechless when he saw the results coming out of Kira's newly established little laboratory. He wanted to say, you guys are getting a bit too amazing here. Professor, could you take a look at our research and see if there's anything we're not doing properly? Kira politely asked. Please advise us. Lyman. Advise? His advice was, the Chancellor might as well fire the entire research department and put you guys in charge starting today. People always say I've seen it all, but in his long life, Lyman had never seen a situation quite as absurd as this. Both Misawa and Alexis felt a bit strange about why Kira invited Lyman as their main advisor. After all, to them, he always seemed like someone just coasting through life, though out of respect, they didn't say anything. But given Kira's track record, there was always a reason for anything he said or did. Many of his actions seemed bizarre or inexplicable by normal duelist standards at first glance, but the results always proved he had his logic. Having gotten used to him, the two had come to accept this and, during research, would usually just follow his instructions, even if they didn't understand them at the time. Kira was almost always right in the end. After some thought, Lyman said, "I do have a suggestion." He hugged his chubby pharaoh cat, petting it as he spoke. "I have a friend who's also quite accomplished in the card-making field, with some connections." Ahem, Lyman cleared his throat. Kira nodded, not bothering to dig into whether this friend was Lyman himself. "Anyway, it's just that recently, the Industrial Illusions Company is hosting some kind of academic event, a conference or something." Lyman patted his forehead. "Ah, whatever, the point is, there's an event. If you can present your work there, you could get sponsorship from the Industrial Illusions Company, and supposedly there's a chance to get the attention of Pegasus, the father of duel monsters himself. Although the registration deadline passed a while ago, my friend knows some people at the company. If we ask, it shouldn't be too late to participate." "I see," Kira mused. Landing sponsorships from both the Industrial Illusions Company and the Kaiba Corporation would be incredible, and participating in a public conference would raise the lab's profile, helping them recruit more resources in the future. Kira thought he already knew some people at the Industrial Illusions Company. Maybe he could visit their warehouse someday. "Thank you, Professor." Both Misawa and Alexis felt like they were in a dream. After all, they'd only just enrolled, and suddenly they were about to participate in an academic event. And they already had results to show for it. On Alexis's side, her Cyber Angel trio Benton, Idatan, and Dakanai had all been strengthened for real cards, just like in the anime. To her, this was already an amazing achievement beyond anything she'd imagined, but Kira saw it as just the beginning. Upgrading anime cards for real play was only the first step. Next, he guided Alexis to broaden her thinking. "I feel like everyone's ideas have gotten a bit rigid," Kira said. "Even in current mainstream research, people see cyber angels as a pure aggressive ritual archetype." Alexis was puzzled. Isn't that true? She should have the most say as their master, but after working with Kira, she wasn't so sure anymore. Yes, and no. Cyber angels are good at offense, but that's why their potential is overlooked. Kira said. "Recently I found a new direction. A new cyber angel ritual monster doesn't have to be all about combos or attacks. I believe cyber angels have defensive potential that's been completely ignored so far." "That's right," he meant cyber angel Natasha. A level 5 cyber angel ritual monster with only 1000 ATK and def, and all three of her effects are defensive by comparison. First, target a monster you control, gain LP equal to half its ATK. Second, when a ritual monster you control is attacked, you can negate the attack. Third and most important, if she's in the graveyard, you can banish other cyber angels to special summon her and take control of an opponent's monster. Rather than pure offense, Kira found this kind of fairy effect more interesting. Unfortunately, nobody seemed to be taking cyber angels in that direction. Still, he had faith in Alexis. While her destiny power wasn't up to Jaden's level, where he could just invent cards as needed, she was still far above the average duelist. Just a little nudge, a direction, maybe she really would print it. Once the world saw a cyber angel with such a unique playstyle, they'd be delighted. Duel Academy, night. A nameless room, as if it was a forgotten corner of the school. Flickering candlelight danced as if controlled by an unseen force, like a restless eye watching everything. In the dim light, 3 white-robed figures sat around an old wooden table, their hoods casting shadows over their faces, their robes glowing faintly. Their movements were slow and solemn, as if performing an ancient ritual. On the table was that a spirit board? Yes, just like the Destiny board card from Yu-Gi-Oh!, the one Bakura used in Battle City, where collecting all the letters death meant an automatic win. But the 3 white-robed men weren't using a hologram projector, but more of a real-world imitation of the card. It was a séance. "Oh great artificial human, if you can hear our devoted call, please descend here." A cold wind blew in through the window. The candle light flickered violently, then went out. The 3 white-robed figures wavered eerily, then were swallowed by darkness. From the shadows, a pair of deep red eyes lit up. Chapter 157 Stealing the Spotlight Again. Late night. Kira sat in his lab chair, yawning and stretching. The spacious lab was empty, the entire corridor dark except for his lonely room, still lit. Moonlight spilled into the deserted school building, the lights flickering in the silence. Normally, he'd have gone back to the dorm long ago, but he was on a roll with his research tonight. He'd had another deep discussion with Alexis, dropping hints about how to strengthen cyber angels. Kira thought he'd make a set for himself once they were finished. With the right upgrades, cyber angels could be really strong, but in the anime world, there wasn't much of a boss monster. Still, it was always good to be prepared. In truth, cyber angels were strongest not within their archetype, but as an engine in a highly compatible deck, then they could perform at 120% power. Once the right upgrades were complete, the deck could leapfrog several generations in strength. Misawa, meanwhile, was focusing on zombies. Kira had already got himself one each of the upgraded Gozuki and Mizuki top-tier zombie cards, very strong in the current meta. He didn't play zombies much, but if he ever did, he'd use these. He leaned back, stretching his neck, when a small hand suddenly appeared, offering him a mug. A steaming cup of coffee. Kira took it reflexively, then looked up surprised to see it was the silent magician. The silver-haired magician girl handed him the cup, then immediately turned intangible again, shyly looking away. Surprising. She had learned to make coffee for him. Kira smiled, took a sip, and waved the mug at her. Thanks. Silent magician smiled gently, bowed slightly, and retreated into his deck. After finishing his coffee, Kira checked the time. It was almost midnight. That's enough for tonight. He stretched, got up, turned off the lights and power, and left the lab. Leaving the school building, he took the path to the dorms, a winding trail through dense woods. Each step crunched the dry leaves underfoot, while the trees whispered in the wind as though something was murmuring in the night. Kira wasn't afraid of the dark, but even he felt the atmosphere was a bit creepy tonight. Every gust of wind through the woods felt like the whispers of ghosts. Silent magician emerged from the deck again, holding her staff in front of her, visibly wary. A spirit's presence. Kira frowned. Lately, he'd noticed the spirit thing was getting strange. Just like how the main characters could understand Kuroba, after spending enough time together, he found he could start to understand silent magician's mood without words. Maybe it was a sign of deepening bonds. Silent magician nodded gravely. Kira pondered. Could it be, like last time at the old dorms, a rift to the spirit world? Just then, there was a sound in the woods. At first faint, but quickly grew, as if something was speeding toward them. Silent magician moved to shield Kira, staff at the ready. The leaves rustled and branches shook as if the whole forest was uneasy. Suddenly, a dark figure burst from the bushes. Wah! It's me, don't shoot, wait, I mean, don't point your staff at me. It was Jaden. He'd come running out of the woods at full speed and nearly crashed into silent magician's staff, the magic cannon almost hitting his nose. Jaden stopped short and raised his hands in surrender. Silent magician arched an eyebrow, then put her staff away and stepped back. Jaden. Kira asked, what are you doing out here so late? It's a long story, Jade scratched his head. Some obelisk blue student suddenly burst into our dorm screaming for help. As they spoke, Cirrus, Chumley, and Professor Lyman came running up, breathless. Be big bro, you run too fast, we can't keep up. All three were gasping. Kira. Professor Lyman was surprised. What are you doing here? Just stayed late in the lab tonight. Jaden suddenly remembered, no time for that, we need to save someone. Let's move, I'll explain as we go. Even before he finished, Kira had already guessed what was going on. Looks like one of the early GX plot points, Jaden's first encounter with an antagonist dual monster spirit. Jinzo Psycho Shocker. Kira thought for a moment, then followed along. Sure enough, Jaden explained just as he remembered. Basically, there was a club at the school that studied dual monster spirits, and 3 students had gotten a little too bold. The 3 of them decided to play a spirit summoning game, but instead of summoning a nice, talkative monster like Dark Magician Girl or a gentle low-level like Kuroba, they somehow chose Jinzo. The summoning partially succeeded. Jinzo appeared, but only in a half-complete, non-physical state. To become complete, Jinzo needed souls as sacrifices. But he didn't just steal them, he politely asked the three if he could have their souls as offerings. The three, thinking sacrifices meant cards, confidently agreed. Not just 3, but 30 would be fine. Jinzo then manifested according to the pact. 2 days later, 2 of the students had disappeared. The third only realized sacrifice meant them and panicked, running out in the middle of the night for help, somehow ending up in the Slifer Red dorm and meeting Jaden and friends. Just as the group finished explaining, the power to the Red dorm was cut. When the lights came back on, Jinzo's spirit appeared, grabbed the unconscious student, and vanished into the forest. Jaden and the others chased after them to hear. Kira, remembering the anime, thought, if he was right, Jinzo would be. Sure enough, after breaking through the woods, they saw a huge, fenced-off power station. This is the Academy Island's power plant. It supplies electricity to the whole academy, Lyman explained. Then, blue-white lightning arced overhead like a dragon, and a bolt of lightning flashed, materializing a translucent figure. It was the famous rare card monster spirit, Jinzo. Oh my god! Lyman screamed. A spirit! A real spirit! Kira squinted at him. The guy's acting was as good as ever. But Professor, haven't you always told us dual monster spirits are real? Chumley asked. Well, yes, but this is the first time I've seen one with my own eyes. Lyman adjusted his glasses. Jaden took a deep breath and stepped forward to talk to Jinzo, but Kira beat him to it. You're the spirit of Jinzo, right? Jinzo's form flickered in the power plant's lightning, ignoring him. The 3 missing students were passed out nearby. They could still be saved. Seeing Jinzo unresponsive, Kira took out a card. He produced his Jinzo card. Sure enough, Jinzo reacted, stepping eagerly toward him, clearly coveting the card. So, this card will help you fully revive, right? You want this card? Jinzo considered for a few seconds, trying to read his intentions. Then he replied in a low voice. I want that card, but I won't give up the 3 sacrifices. They promised themselves to me for my revival. He stressed again. But I want that card, too. He was an adult spirit, wanted it all. You're all duelists, aren't you? Then let's settle this your way. Jinzo pointed at Kira's duel disc. So, it comes down to a duel after all. Kira nodded. Completely as expected. I have no problem dueling. If you win, the card is yours, and I won't interfere with your business anymore. But if you lose, what then? To a spirit, dueling is sacred, so the stakes must be agreed upon. Jinzo thought, then said, if I lose, I'll give up the 3 souls who willingly offered themselves. Kira shook his head, I don't know those 3. Jinzo. Everyone else. Why aren't you following the script? Aren't those lines supposed to come from the good guy? Jinzo was silent for a few seconds, then asked, so what do you want? To a duelist, every card is like a part of your soul. Since I'm putting up my partner, you should offer something of equal value, Kira said. Jinzo hesitated, so you want my soul? As expected of a high-level spirit so perceptive. Kira smiled. If I win, you can reside in this card. From then on, you won't need sacrifices or souls to revive. Is that all right? That way, winning would naturally free the 3 students as well. Ha, interesting. Human duelist, do you want to become my master? Jinzo said in a low voice, already readying his duel stance. Then you must first earn my recognition. I'll take that as a yes. Kira activated his duel disc. Duel. X2. Negotiations were over, it was time to settle things with cards. The others had no chance to interject by the time they realized, the duel was already starting. Chapter 158 You Bastard! Duel. X2. Kira, LP 4000. Jinzo, LP 4000. I'll go first. Draw, Kira said, taking the first turn. I play the spell card Foolish Burial to send a monster from my deck to the graveyard. I'll send. He pulled out the monster card that appeared from his deck. Sinister Serpent to the grave. The spectators quickly guessed what kind of deck he was using. Sinister Serpent, so it's that Abyss Soldier-based strategy, Chumley mused, I remember it's a pretty nasty deck. Yet, what kind of duel will Kira give us this time? Jaden was excited. Cirrus, am I the only one who finds it scary to duel a spirit looking for sacrifices? Kira, I set one monster in face-down defense position, set a card, and end my turn. Jinzo, my turn, draw. Jinzo didn't use a dual disc. Giant card projections appeared behind him whenever he played cards. With a wave of his arm, arcs of electricity crackled and a new card appeared out of thin air. I play the spell card Graceful Charity. Draw 3 cards, discard 2. Jinzo's voice was low and guttural. One of the cards I just discarded is Jinzo Returner. When this card is sent to the graveyard, special summon Jinzo from my graveyard. In the GX anime, Returner's effect had no drawback, but in the real card game, the revived Jinzo would be destroyed at the end phase. But this spirit, naturally, was using the anime version. No such restriction. Cirrus and Chumley exclaimed, "It's coming out already." Exactly. Jinzo's cold, raspy voice even had a hint of excitement. The other card I discarded was myself. With Jinzo Returner's effect, I can use this duel to revive myself. He shouted eagerly. His ghostly, half-transparent body vanished. A second later, his image reappeared in the monster zone, slowly gaining solid form. Finally. The feeling of revival. He was elated. Of course, it wasn't a full resurrection, just a temporary materialization under dual rules. But even so, this taste of life made him even more determined to be revived. I activate my set card Continuous Trap, Royal Oppression. Kira flipped his back row. While this card is on the field, either player can pay 800 LP to negate and destroy a special summon or a card effect that would special summon a monster. Jinzo, Nanny. Royal Oppression, a forbidden card in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Rivalry of Warlords, it's a card that makes modern players recoil, but in its early days, it was largely ignored. You can see this from the ban list. As an ancient card, Oppression didn't even get semi-limited until the Synchro era and only became forbidden in the XYZ era. It shows how slow the early game was. Plus, since both players can use it by paying 800 LP, it's a double-edged sword, not so easy to use. Only when the meta shifted towards special summoning did players start to hate it with a passion. So I pay 800 LP, Kira said, to negate Jinzo Returner's special summon effect. Kira, LP 4000-3200. Ugh. Jinzo, hit by Royal Oppression, was zapped away as soon as he appeared, his form disintegrating. A moment later, his ghostly image flickered back to the duelist area. He'd just set foot in the land of the living only to be kicked back. Revival failed. Jinzo was frustrated. Fine. I summon Mad Dog of Darkness in attack mode. Mad Dog of Darkness, ATK 1900. A yellow, rabid dog, barking madly just like Jinzo's current mood after his failed revival. Attack with Mad Dog of Darkness. The yellow dog lunged, sharp fangs tearing into Kira's face-down monster. You attack Skull Angle, Kira said. Skull Angle, Def 400. Skull Angle has a flip effect. When flipped, I draw one card. Kira drew a card. Jinzo grunted, then I set a card and end my turn. No need to rush. His revival was only a matter of time, he just had to win the duel. My turn, draw. Kira said, Sinister Serpent's effect in the graveyard during my standby phase, it returns to my hand. Kira reclaimed Sinister Serpent, then held up another card. Then I play Pot of Greed, draw 2 cards. Now, I normal summon Abyss Soldier. Abyss Soldier, ATK 1800. Jinzo eyed the trident-wielding soldier as it emerged from the water. 1800 attack less than Mad Dog of Darkness. Royal Oppression is symmetrical, it locked Jinzo out of special summons but did the same to Kira. Kira's only normal summon for the turn was used, and Jinzo had a 1900 beater on the field, so the board state favored Jinzo. Abyss Soldier's effect, once per turn, discard a water monster to return a card on the field to the hand. Jinzo. A bounce effect? If his Mad Dog is bounced, Abyss Soldier can attack directly, dealing a big chunk of damage. But it didn't matter. Jinzo's eyes flicked toward his set card. He'd set Widespread Ruin, a trap that destroys the opponent's highest ATK monster when they attack. He'd use the trap to destroy Abyss Soldier and turn the tables next turn. Abyss Soldier's effect, discard Sinister Serpent from my hand to return my own continuous trap Royal Oppression to my hand. Jinzo was shocked. Bounce your card. He figured it out immediately. When needed, use Oppression to stifle Jinzo's special summons, but when Kira wanted to special summon, bounce his Oppression with Abyss Soldier. So, only he was locked out of special summons? Jinzo was starting to realize the gravity of the situation, though only partly. Next, Kira played another card. Spell card Monster Reborn. Special summon a monster from either player's graveyard to my field. From either graveyard? Masaka? No way. Jinzo panicked. What are you trying to do? Exactly what you're thinking, Kira smiled. I special summon Jinzo from your graveyard. Jinzo, Kisama, you bastard. Chapter 159, Chapter 159, The Psychokinetic King. Jinzo, summon. On Jinzo's side, he was still in his half-transparent ghostly form, watching helplessly as a full 3D projection of himself, revived by Monster Reborn, jumped over to the opponent's field, crossing his arms and scrutinizing him. Even more infuriating, Jinzo felt like this avatar inhabiting the opponent's side was looking at him with a hint of disdain. Royal oppression was also one of Kira's main spoils from his recent trip to Kaiba Corp. As previously mentioned, royal oppression was only mediocre in the early Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta. In slow environments, many decks didn't fear its lockdown, and its effect could easily backfire if the enemy used it. But Kira just happened to have a deck that paired perfectly with oppression. It was the Abyss Control deck he'd used before. Back then, Abyss Control builds had many variants. Later, some duelists even made builds focusing on royal oppression, calling them Oppression Abyss to distinguish them from the original and treat them as a special variant. Though the construction changed, the core philosophy of not letting the opponent play remained, as you could tell from the intense reactions of opponents. For example, Jinzo's spirit now, seeing his doppelganger summoned, flickered in and out of visibility faster and faster, as if gasping for breath. Perhaps he, too, was silently admiring the genius of this strategy. Jinzo's inside, at number %. Battle phase, Kira announced. First, Jinzo attacks Mad Dog of Darkness. Jinzo crossed his hands, a psychic energy sphere crackling with electricity forming in his palms. With a roar, it shredded Mad Dog of Darkness to pieces. Jinzo, LP 4000 LP 3500. The shock made Jinzo's spirit body flicker rapidly. Being hit by his own signature move, the pain wasn't just physical, but also psychological. And now, with his doppelganger on the field, his powerful back row traps were as good as blank paper. Maybe this was the first time Jinzo found his effect a bit disgusting. Abyss Soldier's direct attack, Kira pressed on. The Abyss Soldier's trident surged with water, piercing straight through Jinzo's body. Ugh! Jinzo, LP 3500 LP 1700. To make me suffer such humiliation. Jinzo gritted his teeth. Unforgivable. Kira, I'll set one card to the back row, and end my turn. Jinzo's voice was now distorted, as if gasping. My turn. Draw. Another card appeared in his hand zone. Last turn he'd been completely suppressed, losing half his LP in one go, and was humiliated by seeing his card turned against him. But at least with his doppelganger on the field, he didn't have to worry about the opponent's back row for now. While Jinzo is on the field, neither player can activate trap cards including Royal Oppression. This gave him a chance to fight back. I summon Jinzo, Jector. Jinzo, Jector, ATK 800. Jector's effect. By tributing itself, I can add a Jinzo monster from my deck to my hand. Jinzo declared. Become the sacrifice to guide my appearance. The jumper disintegrated, transforming into a new card image, which appeared in Jinzo's hand zone, briefly flipping to show Kira. Jinzo number 2. Injector's follow-up effect. After that, I can check your set back row cards, Jinzo continued. If any of them are traps, I can special summon the same number of Jinzo monsters from my hand. Let me check your set card. Kira's set card flipped up. Unsurprisingly, it was the Royal Oppression he'd retrieved last turn. Humph, I'll let you taste your own trap's power, Jinzo said darkly. Since there's one trap, I can special summon a Jinzo monster from my hand. So I special summon myself. Jinzo, again. As he spoke, Jinzo's spirit flickered and vanished from the duelist zone. Electricity crackled at the power plant, and in a flash of thunder, his tall, imposing, metallic form appeared on the field. Jinzo Psycho Shocker descends. Psychic Commander, ATK 2400. Finally. It feels good to be alive again. Jinzo clenched his fist, watching himself go from transparent to solid. If he weren't a robot, he'd probably be moved to tears. This duel he simply couldn't lose. I attack Abyss Soldier with myself. Abyss Soldier, whom he hated most, faced a palm crackling with electricity. A roaring energy ball formed in his hand, surging with thunder. And in this instant, I activate a quick play spell from my hand. Another card flipped in Jinzo's hand zone. Limiter removal. My machine monster myself doubles its ATK. Jinzo, ATK 2400 ATK 4800. The psychic shockwave blasted through Abyss Soldier. The water warrior was KO'd, and Kira shielded himself from the shockwave. Kira. Jade instinctively tried to rush over. Relax, I'm fine. The smoke cleared. Kira stood calmly, waving Jaden off. Kira, LP 3200. Jinzo was shocked, why no damage? Discarding Kuroba from my hand makes all battle damage this turn 0. Kira smiled. Looks like your all-out attack was for nothing. Too bad. Jinzo, TCH, using some low-level trash card again. Kira glanced over. Did you just call Kuroba trash? In the world of Yu-Gi-Oh!, calling Kuroba trash is practically forbidden. Anyone breaking that taboo is doomed. Kaiba is the classic example. Kuroba has haunted him since the Duelist Kingdom, all the way to the Pharaoh's departure. At the end of the turn limiter removal is activated, and any boosted machines self-destruct, Jinzo said grimly. But before that, in main phase 2, I'll tribute myself. Kira narrowed his eyes. Hey? Are you going to tribute yourself too? Jinzo on the field was wrapped in electricity, energy, and lightning surging around him, his body evolving rapidly in the light. From the far reaches of the cosmos, accepting mysterious power for the final evolution now, witness the form of a king. Jinzo's arms spread, body growing, armor transforming, his form rapidly upgrading. Jinzo, Lord, summon. Chapter 160, Chapter 160, the revival match is so hard. Jinzo, Lord, ATK 2600. This card appeared in GX, but not with Jinzo's spirit. It was later used by Makoto Inatsum, the heir of the Jinzo Art Dojo. But since it already exists, it's not surprising for the spirit to have the evolved form. That's right, Professor Lyman explained. Normally, limiter removal would cause the machine to self-destruct at the end of the turn, but by tributing itself to evolve, it avoids self-destruction. He hugged his cat tighter. Spirits are terrifying, Naya. Pharaoh, meow. Even the cat seemed to agree. My evolved form suppresses traps even more. Jinzo declared. Jinzo, Lord, activate effect. Once per turn, destroy all trap cards in your opponent's hand and on the field. Anime effect. The real-life card was nerfed to only destroy face-up traps on the field, a big downgrade. Royal Oppression, I'll destroy it now. Trap scan. 2 red beams shot from his eyes, slicing through Kira's set card, which shattered with a flash of red. For each trap destroyed, you take 300 damage. Kira, LP 3200 LP 2900. Jinzo pointed to another card in his hand, flipping it. Next, I play the spell One Day of Peace. Both players draw a card, and until the end of your next turn, all battle and effect damage becomes 0. He drew, and a new card shimmered into Jinzo's hand. Turn end. My turn. Draw. Kira said. Standby phase, Sinister Serpent returns from the graveyard. The serpent was back. Jinzo scowled. That thing again. But your Abyss Soldier is gone. Sinister Serpent's just a low-level trash card now. Kira smiled, not bothering to argue. I play Graceful Charity. Draw 3, discard 2. He showed another card. Spell card, Card of Burial Magic. Banish Foolish Burial, Monster Reborn, and Graceful Charity from my grave to draw 2. Anime effect. With new cards in hand, he activated another. Equip spell Premature Burial. Pay 800 LP to revive a monster from my graveyard in attack position. Kira, LP 2900 LP 2100. Jinzo was startled, you're reviving that monster again? Correct. I pay LP to revive Abyss Soldier. A whirlpool of water surged, and the revived Abyss Soldier slashed through with his trident, returning to the field. Abyss Soldier, ATK 1800. Ugh, this again. Jinzo gritted his teeth. Now, with Sinister Serpent, the combo was back, and even his mighty Jinzo Lord could only endure the pain. Abyss Soldier's effect, discard the water sinister serpent from my hand to return a card on the field to the hand. Kira tossed his card to the grave. I'll return the equip spell Premature Burial. Jinzo. Everyone. Returning your card again? Abyss Soldier's trident sent a wave crashing down, sweeping up the equip spell, which flashed gold and returned to Kira's hand while Abyss Soldier remained. Jinzo was shocked. Wait, your equip spell is gone. Shouldn't the revived monster be destroyed? Nope, Kira explained, showing the equip spell. Read the text on Premature Burial. When this card is destroyed, destroy the equipped monster. But it doesn't say anything about other ways the card leaves the field, right? Jinzo was stunned. Hey? Is that really how it works? He instinctively felt it was wrong, but couldn't argue. So, even if I return it to my hand, the Abyss Soldier stays, Kira said. Then I pay 800 LP again, activate Premature Burial. Revive the second Abyss Soldier I just sent to the graveyard. Kira, LP 2100 LP 1300. Another water blast and a second Abyss Soldier arrived. Abyss Soldier, ATK 1800. You have two of these. Jinzo was even more frustrated. The second Abyss Soldier's effect, Kira said, I discard the water elemental hero Bublemon from my hand to return Jinzo, Lord to your hand. The trident's energy sent a jet of water under the Psychic Emperor, sending him back with a howl. Half a second later, Jinzo's spirit, back to his half-dead ghostly self, returned to the duelist zone, glaring at Kira. In one duel, he'd jumped back and forth between the living and the dead, only to lose again, sent back to the underworld by another trident. Truly, a spirit's life is all ups and downs, and downs, and downs. The revival match is just too hard. Jinzo, damn it, I have to revive in this duel, no matter what. I haven't done my normal summon this turn, Kira said. Now I summon Doom Caliber Knight. A knight in black armor rode in on a hellish steed, his sword radiating a sinister aura. Doom Caliber Knight, ATK 1900. To set up the field like this in one turn. Jinzo muttered. But thanks to 1 day of peace, all damage this turn is 0. Right, no point attacking. Kira shrugged. I set a card and end my turn. Jinzo scanned the opponent's field grimly. It wasn't over. So close to revival he never expected such a tough opponent. Jinzo was starting to regret initiating this duel, his opponent was no ordinary person. But giving up wasn't an option. He'd show them his resolve to revive. He'd bet everything on this turn. My turn. Draw. Seeing the card he drew, a spark of excitement flashed in Jinzo's red eyes. Got it. I activate the spell Double Snare. Jinzo announced. Destroy one face-up card on the field that has an effect that negates trap cards' effects. So I'll destroy your Jinzo. Kira. Wait, aren't you Jinzo? Why do you run this card yourself? Did you foresee the need for it against yourself? Or did you just print this card on the spot? Red light flashed in Jinzo's eyes. His rebellious doppelganger was the opponent's best monster. Destroying it would open a hole in their field, and also unlock his long-sealed trap, Widespread Ruin. Then I activate my set card, Kira said, Quick Play Spell Quick Summon. I can normal summon a monster from my hand. Anime effect. Jinzo glanced at his hand. Summoning a monster now? No matter. Whatever it is, it won't matter now. I tribute one Abyss Soldier for an advanced summon. The Bane of Spells, the machine that seals magic. Level 5, Spell Canceller. Spell Canceller, ATK 1800. While this card is on the field, no spell cards can be activated, and all spells on the field are negated. Jinzo lost his composure. Nanny. Spell Canceller? He stared, despairing, as his killing spell was negated and vanished as specks of light. Spell Canceller and Jinzo. Jinzo watched, hopeless, as his doppelganger and the Spell Canceller stood together against him. Trap sealed, spell sealed. How was he supposed to duel? He looked at his doppelganger, standing arms crossed on the other side, and felt as if that gaze was condescending. It seemed to say, have you learned? That's how you use psychic power. Damn it. Not over yet. He still had one last struggle. I summon another Jinzo, Jector. Jinzo shouted. Then tribute Jector to activate its effect. Add a jinzo monster from my deck to my hand. Not today. Kira snapped his fingers. Doom Caliber Knight. The knight dissolved into black mist, charging forward and slashing Jinzo's Gekko in two, who vanished with a scream. What? Jinzo gasped. Why didn't the effect activate? Doom Caliber Knight can be tribute to negate and destroy a monster effect when it activates. Kira smiled. Jinzo. Even monster effects are sealed? Jinzo's spirit was stunned. Spell sealed, trap sealed, monster effects negated. Why not just play a card that reads Jinzo can't duel today? Well, it's about the same. My turn now. Kira drew and waved his hand. My Jinzo, attack Jinzo directly. Jinzo looked up, watching his doppelganger's crossed palms, electric psychic energy surging toward him. Despair filled his eyes. This world, and its duelists. So terrifying. Chapter 161, Chapter 161, Welcome to the family. Jinzo felt he'd had a terrifying nightmare. In it, he was just a step away from revival. But at that final step, a demon appeared. An incredibly strong duelist. Not only did the duel show Jinzo the true meaning of the power gap, but it also made him see the world's darkness. Spirits need to protect themselves when out in the world. Otherwise, you might get NTRD by your card, disgusted by your lockdown effects. It's a disaster. The nightmare, of course, ended in his defeat, and at the hands of his signature move. When his LP hit 0, pain racked his body, and he felt himself sinking into the deep sea, drifting in a dark vortex. As if the cold waters of the underworld swallowed him, dragging him into the endless abyss. He struggled, but could do nothing, his barely revived consciousness swallowed by darkness. Then he jolted awake. Phew, thank goodness it was just a dream. Jinzo the spirit let out a sigh, regaining his senses. It was a nightmare, yes, but too scary. It took him a while to recover and look around. Hey? Where was he? Jinzo froze, realizing he was in a special space. Being a dual monster spirit, he recognized it as a kind of subspace, a special domain where unused spirits reside, a barracks for warriors waiting for deployment. In other words, the deck. But Jinzo was just a half-dead spirit summoned by 3 idiots, a wandering ghost with no master. How could he have a deck space? Confused, Jinzo tried to poke his head out of the space and look around. He shuddered instinctively, frozen with terror. It was him. The demon from his dream. You're awake. Kira, who'd been building a deck with his new cards, noticed the peeking Jinzo, set his work aside, turned, and smiled. He prided himself on a gentle, sunny smile, friendly and approachable. Yet the spirit reacted as if seeing a ghost, recoiling. What did you do to me? You make it sound so weird, Kira muttered. People might think I did something indecent. Did you forget the contract for the shadow duel? Jinzo paused. Memories of their pre-duel conversation resurfaced. If you lose, you'll become my card. He didn't remember the exact words, but in his mind's eye, Kira was like a grinning devil, waving Jinzo card in his hand. Jinzo's body trembled. So the nightmare was real. What's scarier than a nightmare? Waking up to find you're still in it. He'd agreed to a shadow duel, wagering his own body. And clearly, he lost. Jinzo was dejected. At least in the nightmare, only his doppelganger was NTRD. Now, waking up, he realized the traitor was himself. Hard to say which was worse. Oh well, might as well accept it. After calming down, Jinzo thought back on last night's duel and didn't feel too bad. If you ignore some of Kira's annoying in-duel tactics, Jinzo had to admit the man was a strong duelist. For a dual monster spirit, having a strong master isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just that last night's duel was so suffocating, the more he thought about it, the angrier he got. No, at least he had to save some face. Accepting reality, Jinzo crossed his arms and nodded slightly. Humph, I acknowledge your strength, duelist, he tried to sound lofty. But I am a high-level spirit. To wield my power you must pay a price. How about this, I won't demand 3 tributes. 1 tribute will suffice for my allegiance. Shing. The sound of swords being drawn. 2 other spirits, silent magician and black luster soldier, appeared silently in the room. Staff on one side, sword on the other, both pointed at Jinzo's head. Jinzo glanced at the staff and sword at his forehead and fell into thought. Not for long, he only thought for about a second. Then he changed his tune. No tributes needed for my allegiance. His voice got quieter. Damn, he couldn't mess with either of them. Only now did Jinzo realize his real status, the bottom of the team. A moment ago, he thought he was a noble level 6, a high-level spirit. Turns out, he was the weakest. Silent magician, usually harmless and cute, could freely change level, big or small, cute or mature. She might seem like a level 4, but if she got serious, she could easily stomp 2 Jinzos. The other one, forget it. The legendary Blackluster Soldier. Who could afford to mess with him? Don't be like that, Kira said cheerfully. We're all teammates now, no need for violence, put your weapons away. Blackluster Soldier and Silent Magician glanced at each other, sheathed their sword and staff, and stepped aside. That's better. From now on, get along and don't bully the new teammate. Jinzo, that's right, did you hear the master? No bullying the new guy. Jinzo had unconsciously retreated behind Kira, peeking at the other 2 spirits. Blackluster Soldier and Silent Magician exchanged another glance and nodded. Let's all have fun dueling together from now on. Jinzo nodded quickly too, signaling his willingness to work as a team. The dorm was filled with a cheerful atmosphere. By the way, your deck last night was really strong, Kira said. Jinzo waved it off, saying it was nothing. After all, he was beaten by his new master. No, really, it was amazing. There were quite a few Jinzo-only cards I haven't even seen before. They're rare in our world, really cool. Kira was impressed. Actually, after the duel last night, he'd wanted to loot Jinzo's deck, but, just like in the anime, it vanished when Jinzo fainted. But that didn't matter. Now Jinzo was part of the family, and what's his is Kira's. Jinzo paused for 2 seconds, then caught on. He flipped his palm, psychic energy swirling, and a full deck materialized in his hand, which he handed to Kira. Here. Here it is. Chapter 162, Chapter 162, Paper Submission. Having obtained another new deck, Kira was in a terrific mood today. The Jinzo series still had development potential, being a deck that would even get nostalgic support cards years later. Kira jotted down this project for future research when he had time. Before Kira transmigrated, it seemed that Kaiba Corp had just found a new goldmine, going all out to strengthen old decks from the DM and GX eras. Many of these may look like trash to modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Players, but people forget, what counts as bad now would have been overpowered cheat cards 20 years ago. As for today's top meta decks, they're even more ridiculous. Bring them back 20 years and it's like 3-body tech beating up cavemen with pitchforks. And don't forget, with enough support, even an old trash deck can rise. Who would have thought that Yubel, a bottom-tier deck for years, would one day get meta-defining support nearly 2 decades later? It just shows, the world of dual monsters is deep, and the path of research is long. With enough card printing power, anything can be broken. This proves that in this world full of cheats and hacks, you either max out your luck and plot armor, or you have to research and craft your path to prosperity. Kira already had a long list of decks and topics to research, with new ones being added all the time. Trying to personally handle every project was unsustainable. Kira was already thinking about expanding his lab's influence and recruiting more people once their first round of results was published. He would still personally work on his own ace decks and spirit cards, but there was no way he had the time to handle every other archetype. With so many themes and cards to print, both resources and manpower were essential. But it looked like the lab's first releases were coming soon. Under Kira's guidance, Alexis completed the initial upgrade of the Cyber Angel deck, spending several sleepless days before finally finishing the paper for submission. The day before submitting it, she even asked her advisor to review it, though she secretly doubted Professor Lyman's actual expertise. Lyman, stroking his cat, glanced over the paper and made a troubled face, pushing his glasses up. Well, even if you say that, I've never really written an academic paper before. He quickly flipped through the stack from front to back, then handed it back to Alexis. Very good, no problem at all. As expected from Alexis, your work is always so reliable. Alexis took back the paper, bewildered, wanting to say something, but hesitated out of respect. She wanted to say, Sensei, you barely even looked at it. Misawa couldn't help but add, by the way, I checked the conference you mentioned is happening next week. Is it possible to submit a paper this late? Indeed. While Kira wasn't familiar with this world, in his previous life, submitting a paper could take months, even a year. Submitting after the deadline, when the conference is already upon you, is unheard of. Lyman just smiled, no worries. My friend is influential, shouldn't be a problem. Misawa wanted to protest, but this is hardly a small issue. But Kira interrupted with a smile, it's fine. Since sensei says so, let's just give it a try. Alright, if you say so. Misawa stopped, though he still glanced at Lyman with suspicion. He trusted Kira, but couldn't understand why Kira had such faith in Lyman, who honestly seemed pretty unreliable. Elsewhere, at a certain Dual Monster Research Institute headquarters of the Cyber Research Association. Massive servers hummed in the background, the walls covered in images and data of cyber-themed monsters. The air was thick with the scent of electronics. The chief, in high heels, strode into the lab. Sayako, help me review this paper quickly. It's for the Industrial Illusion Conference next week. Sayako, a pink-haired girl, stood up, stunned. Next week's conference? Review it now. The recommender's a big shot, a legend in the alchemy field. Doesn't matter. The topic is Cyber Angel, so the organizers asked us to review it. Just mark any problems or highlights and send it to me by tonight, okay? Alright. Sayako sat back down, curious. A recommendation from a legend, on Cyber Angels? Could there be something new? Their team was at the cutting edge of all cyber research, and their recent breakthrough Cyber Angel Dakanai, the meta's strongest Cyber Angel, was their creation. But even they had hit a wall since then. She sipped coffee and scrolled down to the paper's author. Fujiki Kira, Alexis Rhodes, first-year Duel Academy students. Sayako raised an eyebrow. What could a first year possibly discover? Another sip, and she read on, puzzled. Then she spat out her coffee. Chief. Chief, Chief. Sayako dashed to the chief's office, banging on the door. What's wrong? Why so panicked? The chief opened the door, confused. Sayako was out of breath, the paper you sent me is insane. Didn't I say to finish reading before coming to me? The chief frowned. Is it that amazing? Sayako gasped, clutching her chest, face flushed, nodding repeatedly. The chief was surprised, it's really that incredible? Let me guess, did they find some broken combo with a specific card? Which one? Sayako nodded, then shook her head. No, Chief, it's not just one card. Sayako's face was a picture of horror. It's the entire deck. Chief. Chapter 163, Chapter 163, I'm dueling the chief? They did it. With only one day left before the conference, Alexis stared blankly at the freshly printed, still ink-scented new ritual card in her hand. Even as an elite who had been directly admitted to the academy, she'd never dreamed she'd achieve something like this as a first-year student. First, a massive upgrade for the entire Cyber Angel deck. And now, a brand new card never seen before. Cyber Angel Natasha. The same level 5 Ritual Angel Kira had hinted at before, famous for its unique NTR, control stealing, effect within the Cyber Angel series. As expected of Rhodes, you finished it already. Misawa praised. Looks like I'll need to speed up my progress, can't let myself fall behind. No, it was just luck, and thanks to Kira's guidance. She found it hard to believe. From her understanding, even with research, you could only grasp a general direction. Even the designers themselves often couldn't say for sure what a card would look like until it was finished. Yet Kira always seemed to know exactly what each card should be. By the way, you didn't mention this new card in your paper, did you? Misawa asked. No, I was still developing it then. Perfect, she could present it as a new result at the conference. After submitting, she'd heard the reviewers were pretty shocked, even emailing her for details and repeatedly stressing that she must attend in person. She wondered how they'd react if they knew she'd printed a new card just 2 days before the conference. Even Lyman was momentarily speechless upon seeing the new Cyber Angel card. It looked nothing like the usual upright, dignified Cyber Angels. If anything, the art style seemed distinctly Kira-esque. Lyman squinted, glancing at Kira, who was buried in his research at the next table. Sensing the look, Kira raised an eyebrow. Not my fault. While the art was different from old Cyber Angels, Natasha was a real Cyber Angel card, not something he made up. Cyber Angels are like this. It's impressive, Lyman finally said, handing the card back to Alexis. He'd been following the lab's progress closely, so he knew that while Alexis did the actual printing, the overall design direction was always controlled by Kira. The new card's art style also made it clear, rather than Alexis' usual head-on style, it was much closer to Kira's preferences. Lyman looked at Kira again, a smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. The more he watched, the more he felt this student was a true prodigy. Maybe he was even considering passing down his macrocosmos legacy to Kira. Lyman used an alchemy deck, but most of the cards were anime only and still hadn't been printed in real life after nearly 20 years. But he did have one card that had stood the test of time, still meta-relevant and considered the Og Banish Everything card by duelists. Continuous Trap Macrocosmos. Its effect is simple and brutal: as long as this card is on the field, anything sent to the graveyard is banished instead. For modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, where the graveyard is second hand, this is huge. One card erases the whole concept of graveyard, and can single-handedly wipe out any deck that depends on graveyard recursion. To be honest, Kira had two motives for asking Lyman to mentor him: he wanted to learn alchemy and card printing, but also hoped to inherit Lyman's macrocosmos style. Because according to the original series, he knew the professor's life was almost up. Lyman was already using an artificial body made via human transmutation, but it was on the verge of collapse. Before dying, he would look for a worthy successor. In the anime, he picked Jaden Yuki. But while Jaden was called an alchemy genius, his deck style was different from Lyman's. So Kira figured, let Jaden take the main role, but he wanted to inherit the legacy, macrocosmos included. The next day, Kira and his group left the island and arrived at the conference venue. The event was held at the headquarters of the Industrial Illusion. The spacious conference hall was filled with VIPs and top researchers. At the center was a giant stage and multimedia screens displaying the theme and agenda. Alexis took her third deep breath since entering, her chest rising and falling. Kira said, "Don't be nervous." I'm not nervous." Alexis protested. "Just thinking about what to say." Kira smiled, not pressing further. Still, it was understandable. No matter how capable they were, Alexis and Misawa were still first years. Suddenly being asked to present to a room full of top experts would make anyone nervous. "Whoa, is that Yako Tenma?" Misawa whispered. Following his gaze, Kira saw Yako Tenma at the end of the table. "That's him?" Alexis asked, surprised. "I heard he's the new head of the Industrial Illusion and a legendary duelist. He even played against the Duel King." "That's right," Kira nodded. "I even dueled him myself." Both companions stared at him in disbelief. "You? Against someone at that level?" "Just barely scraped by," Kira said modestly. "Pure luck." Their expressions became even more exaggerated. "No way," Misawa muttered. He'd always known Kira wasn't ordinary, but to beat a duelist of that caliber. Just then, a woman walked over. Dressed in a perfectly tailored navy suit, elegant yet dignified. Sunlight shining through the window made her long hair gleam with gold. "Excuse me, are you Fujiki?" Kira and Alexis Rhodes. "Yes," Kira replied. "And you are?" "Oh, sorry to intrude. I'm Misaki Takahashi, the chief of the Cyber Research Association." Alexis gasped. "A major figure in the field." "Yes. I've read your paper on Cyber Angels. Honestly, I was stunned." Takahashi smiled. "If everything in the paper is real, your work is revolutionary. Genius doesn't even begin to describe it." "Thank you." Alexis glanced at Kira. But it was mostly Kira's ideas. Takahashi looked them over, still smiling. "I wasn't planning to attend today, but after reading your paper, I changed my mind. I have a request. You brought your upgraded Cyber Angel deck, right?" Alexis nodded, "Yes." Then, Takahashi raised her dual disc. "Would you show me what it can do in a duel?" Alexis blinked. "I'm dueling the chief?" Chapter 164, Chapter 164, Cyber Showdown. Duel. X2. Alexis, LP 4000. Takahashi, LP 4000. There was still time before the conference started, so experts from all around gathered to watch. "Hey, isn't that the Cyber Angel? That's Chief Takahashi, the top authority in the field. But her opponent looks like just a student. Does anyone know her? I heard she's a Duel Academy freshman." "Hey? For real?" Misawa, the golden commentator, stood next to Kira. "Her opponent is the top expert, and she's even using the same type of deck. Do you think roads will be okay? Expert means great research, but not necessarily dueling skills. Besides, with our recent breakthroughs, we're not any worse than them, are we? Kira smiled. Well, that's true. Don't worry, just watch. Kira patted Misawa's shoulder, confident. She'll be fine. Then, I'll let the young lady go first. Takahashi showed her sportsmanship, giving the first move. Alexis nodded, not holding back, then it's my turn draw. She quickly scanned her hand, recalling the new strategies after the Cyber Angel upgrades, and the deck build she'd revised under Kira's advice. First, the spell card Terraforming. Alexis declared. Add a field spell from my deck to my hand. I add Ritual Sanctuary from my deck. Chief Takahashi nodded. This field spell was also developed by their association, granting access to key combo pieces. Then I activate the field spell. As Alexis slotted the card into her dual disc, the scene changed. A grand cathedral rose. Sunlight streamed through stained glass, roses floated down, and an ornate altar held a Bible and cross. Ritual Sanctuary lets me discard a spell card to add a ritual spell or light ritual monster from my deck to my hand. Alexis discarded a card and searched her deck. I add Cyber Angel Benton to hand. Then activate Preparation of Rites. Add a level 7 or lower ritual monster from my deck and recover a ritual spell from my grave. I add the level 5 Cyber Angel Natasha to my hand, and retrieve the ritual spell Machine Angel Ritual I just discarded. Natasha. Takahashi was shocked. There's a Cyber Angel like that? How did I not know? Oh, we just finished this card yesterday, so it wasn't in the paper. Alexis showed the newly searched ritual monster. Now's a great chance to show you. Please give me your guidance, Chief. You made a new card just in these few days. Takahashi was stunned. Even the watching experts were shocked, glancing at the academy kids in disbelief. A brand new card, unknown even to the chief herself. Are these really students? Interesting. Very interesting. Takahashi's anticipation only grew. Let me see this new Cyber Angel power for myself. Of course, Alexis said seriously. I activate the ritual spell Machine Angel Ritual from hand. I tribute monsters from my hand or field whose total levels equal or exceed the ritual monster's level, and ritual summon a Cyber Angel monster. She revealed both ritual monsters she'd just searched. I tribute the level 6 Cyber Angel Benton Ritual Summon. Alexis raised her hand. O Angel of Light, Keeper of Healing Power, bring holy salvation with your beautiful form descend. Cyber Angel Natasha. Benton's form vanished on the altar, replaced by surging flames. Holy light burst forth. A red cape billowed, a golden helmet's 4 eyes opened, and the half-human, half-beast, 4-armed angel descended. Cyber Angel Natasha, ATK 1000. The new Cyber Angel appears at last. After years of research, seeing a new angel emerge made Takahashi involuntarily excited. But, her ATK is only 1000, Takahashi pointed out. Benton has 1600 ATK. Why tribute Benton for this card? Alexis smiled. Benton's new effect when tribute, I can add a light fairy monster from the deck to my hand. So I search. She searched her deck and revealed another ritual monster. I add Cyber Angel Idaten to my hand. I see the full value of Benton's new effect is only realized when she's used as a tribute. Takahashi nodded. Now, Cyber Angel Natasha activates her effect. Alexis declared. Once per turn, target a face-up monster I control recover LP equal to half its ATK. I choose Natasha herself, so I gain 500 LP. Alexis, LP 4000 LP 4500. A healing effect, Takahashi mused. A more defensive type of Cyber Angel, hey? That's rare. Alexis smiled faintly. Natasha's power was far more than that. But she didn't say it yet. My turn is over. Then it's my turn draw, Takahashi said. I activate Graceful Charity draw 3, then discard 2. One of the discarded cards quickly triggered another effect. One of my discards is Card of Compensation. When sent from hand to grave, I draw 2 more. Anime effect. She drew and then revealed 3 cards at once. Spell card Polymerization. I fuse Blade Skater and a Toil Cyber from hand. Fusion Summon. Cyber Blader. Blade Skater and a Toil Cyber vanished in a fusion vortex. The graceful skater arrived, gliding on razor-sharp ice, long hair flowing, spinning lightly. Cyber Blader, ATK 2100. Alexis focused. This was also the Ace fusion monster in her deck. Here I go, little sister from Duel Academy, Takahashi said. Show me the new power of Cyber Angels. Chapter 165, Chapter 165, Natasha. Cyber Blader, summon. Cyber Blader. Alexis was momentarily dazed. Her feelings were a bit complicated. Because Cyber Blader happened to be one of her favorite monsters in the original series, Alexis's debut duel featured this card as her ace. Not bad. Chief Takahashi smiled. Cyber Blader was the first monster I designed after specializing in cyber cards. It's like a piece of my soul. Alexis straightened up in respect. So, it was you who designed it. That's right. That's why I have such an unbreakable bond with my cyber monsters. Chief Takahashi played another card from her hand. Next, I activate this card from my hand. Ritual spell, Machine Angel Ritual. Alexis became even more focused. A card just like those in her deck. I tribute the level 6 Majestic Mech, OA from my hand as ritual material. Using Machine Angel Ritual, I summon. Level 6, Cyber Angel, Idayton. Just like on Alexis's side, a ritual altar appeared, the image of light machine vanished within, and a blaze erupted into a towering wall of flames. Cyber Angel, Idayton, Ritual Summon. Cyber Angel, Idayton, ATK 1600. When Idayton is summoned, you can add a spell card from your graveyard to your hand. Original effect. A golden light flashed from the graveyard zone on Chief Takahashi's dual disc, and a spell card slid out. She drew it and displayed it. I retrieve the spell card Graceful Charity from my graveyard, and activate it again. Draw 3 cards, then discard 2. Her hand changed again as she chose 2 cards to discard to the graveyard. I haven't normal summoned yet this turn. She picked another card from her renewed hand. I normal summon Cyber Tutu. Cyber Tutu, ATK 1000. Some experts already began to nod in approval. As expected of Chief Takahashi, her mastery of the cyber deck is impressive. To assemble such a field in one turn, but isn't she being a little too serious against a student from Duel Academy? But Kira only noticed how many cards Takahashi had gone through in one turn. Still, you couldn't blame her. GX is known as the card disadvantage dimension, that's just how dueling works. Especially with the anime cyber deck's fusion or ritual, it always takes at least a 3-for-1 trade to summon a big monster. That's just the system, you can't blame duelists for card disadvantage. But you also can't judge everything by competitive standards. Even if the chief emptied her hand, Kira wouldn't be surprised if she top-decked a Pot of Greed next turn and refilled her hand in one go. That's just PAR for the course here. Battle phase, Chief Takahashi announced. I won't hold back. Do your best and show me what you've achieved. First, Cyber Blader, attack Cyber Angel, Natasha. Cyber Blader skated forward, her right arm fused with a weapon, blade extending, thrusting out with explosive force. Cyber Angel, Natasha's effect. Alexis declared. When one of my ritual monsters is targeted for attack, I can activate her effect to negate that attack. A pale blue hemispherical shield appeared before Natasha, like a transparent barrier. Cyber Blader's full force strike crashed against the shield, fiery shockwaves rippling along the watery barrier, but the shield didn't budge an inch. Negating attacks, hey. Chief Takahashi understood. No wonder you went through all that effort to summon a ritual monster with only 1000 ATK. It's a defensive effect. Then, Cyber Angel, Idayton, attack Cyber Angel, Natasha. Idayton glided forward gracefully, spinning like a top, delivering a flying kick. Still won't work, Alexis said. Cyber Angel, Natasha's effect negates attacks on ritual monsters. Once more the blue shield formed, Idayton's kick disappearing into it like a stone sinking into the sea. Chief Takahashi turned, no limit on how many times you can use it. Correct, Alexis smiled. As long as Natasha is on the field, she can block any number of attacks on ritual monsters. I see, so it's the ultimate defense for Cyber Angels, Chief Takahashi realized. In other words, you can't defeat this monster through regular battle, only removal effects like destruction, banishing, or returning it to hand will do. Takahashi, interesting. I set a card face down and end my turn. Alexis, my turn draw. With a chance to duel the head of her own archetypes association and show off her hard work, Alexis was brimming with energy. Now was the time to show the new potential of her cyber angels. I normal summon Cyber Petty Angel. Cyber Petty Angel, ATK 200. This was another old anime card. Originally, on summon, it searched Machine Angel Ritual from the deck. The new version could also search for Cyber Angel monsters. But Alexis didn't use the new effect for now. Cyber Petty Angel's effect add Machine Angel Ritual from my deck to my hand. She immediately activated the card she searched. Ritual spell Machine Angel Ritual activate again. This time I tribute level 2 Cyber Petty Angel and level 5 Cyber Angel, Natasha on my field to ritual summon the card I added to my hand last turn, thanks to Benton's effect. Alexis raised her ritual monster card. Arise, level 6. Cyber Angel, Idaten. Cyber Angel, Idaten, ATK 1600. Now both sides had an Idaten staring each other down. Then, by Idaten's effect, I retrieve Machine Angel Ritual from my graveyard. Alexis recovered the ritual spell from the grave. Chief Takahashi frowned, retrieving ritual spells, planning more ritual summons. Field spell Ritual Sanctuary, effect activate. Alexis announced. Once per turn, by discarding a spell card, I can add a light ritual monster from my deck to my hand. I discard a spell card and add Cyber Angel, Dakanai from my deck to my hand. So, you're going to summon Dakanai here? Chief Takahashi nodded with a smile, recognizing Alexis's skill. Dakanai was another monster developed by their association, currently the strongest Cyber Angel. Watching the next generation operate this deck so smoothly, she felt proud. But unexpectedly, Dakanai didn't appear just yet. Cyber Angel, Natasha in my graveyard has another effect. Alexis said. While she's in the graveyard, I can banish another Cyber Angel from my graveyard to special summon herself. I banish Cyber Angel, Benton from my graveyard. Natasha returns to the field. Benton's image vanished in golden light, a vortex opened in the grave, and the four-armed angel returned. Cyber Angel, Natasha, ATK 1000. Natasha revived again. Chief Takahashi thought. I see, so with this Cyber Angel on the field, you can block all attacks, and recover LP every turn. A top-tier defense. Wait, what? Chief Takahashi's eyes went wide. Because at that instant, she saw her ace the Cyber Blader she'd designed and trusted most. Do a somersault. And defect to the other side. Chief Takahashi. Chapter 166, Chief is tired. At that moment, Chief Takahashi was utterly bewildered. What was happening? Why did her ace betray her? What happened to their unbreakable bond? Kira, ever helpful, explained cheerfully from the sidelines, no worries, Chief, it's just Natasha's special effect, she'll just borrow your ace for the duel. You'll get her back afterward. Chief Takahashi. She figured it must be some monster effect, but this explanation sounded so wrong, like I'll give her back once I'm done enjoying her. Alexis, ahem, sorry, Chief. Cyber Angel, Natasha's follow-up ability, when she's special summoned by her effect, you gain control of one of your opponent's monsters. I see. Chief Takahashi forced herself to stay calm. But she couldn't help glancing at the new ritual angel on the opponent's field. Cyber Angel, Natasha. How to put it? Impressive, yes. But the art style was a bit off compared to her previous impression. Now for Natasha's first effect, once per turn, I can select a monster I control and gain LP equal to half its ATK, Alexis said. I choose the borrowed Cyber Blader. Also, Cyber Blader has a special effect. Chief Takahashi remembered, Cyber Blader gains different effects depending on how many monsters the opponent controls. If there are 2 monsters, her ATK doubles. That's right, Alexis replied. Since the chief still has Idaten and Tutu on her field, Blader's ATK doubles. Cyber Blader, ATK 2100 ATK 4200. Alexis, LP 4500 LP 6600. The experts watching all perked up. The chief's ace being used to heal the opponent was quite a show. Some started to jest. Whoa, 6600 LP. That Duel Academy girl is impressive. The chief's blader sure is handy. Chief Takahashi. Now for Cyber Tutubon in my hand, Alexis revealed another card. This card can be special summoned by tributing a warrior or fairy monster from hand or field. I tribute Cyber Angel, Natasha on my field to special summon Cyber Tutuban. Natasha, just revived, again dissolved into golden light, and a dancer in a little ballet skirt appeared. Cyber Tutuban, ATK 1800. Next, I activate the Machine Angel ritual I just retrieved with Idatan. I tribute Cyber Angel, Idatan and Cyber Tutuban on my field as ritual material. With the power of light illuminating the path ahead, the Angel of Light descends. Level 8, Cyber Angel, Dakanai. Cyber Angel, Dakanai, ATK 2700. Idatan's new effect, if tribute, all my ritual monsters gain 1000 ATK. Cyber Angel, Dakanai, ATK 2700 ATK 3700. A jump to 3700 ATK. Chief Takahashi commented. A strong new effect indeed. Also, Cyber Tutuban's effect, if used as ritual material, I can retrieve a ritual spell from my graveyard. Alexis showed the ritual spell she retrieved once again. Another ritual spell recovery. You can do that again. Chief Takahashi was shocked. She could tell now this newly enhanced Cyber Angel deck had much better resource cycling than before. And Dakanai's effect, Alexis continued. When ritual summoned, your opponent must send a monster from their field to the graveyard. Chief Takahashi remembered this effect and, without hesitation, chose one of her remaining monsters. I send Cyber Angel, Idatan to the grave. Idatan turned into golden light and vanished into the graveyard. You didn't choose the lower ATK Tutu. As a fellow cyber deck player, Alexis's gaze went to the opponent's back row. She had to guess what that set card was. Now, I banish the just tribute Cyber Angel, Idatan from my grave, and activate Cyber Angel, Natasha in my grave. Natasha special summons herself, and I gain control of Sensei's Cyber Tutu. Chief Takahashi was even more shocked. You can activate it again? Is there no limit to this effect? That's right. As long as Natasha is in the graveyard, there's no restriction on how many times you can use this per turn, Alexis said. So, I take control of Cyber Tutu. Seeing her last monster about to be hijacked, Chief Takahashi acted quickly. I activate my set card. Quick play spell, Prima Light. I send Cyber Tutu from my field to the grave to special summon Cyber Prima from my hand. Original card. A magical vortex erupted, and Tutu vanished, replaced by a mature Cyber Prima. But in the defense position. Cyber Prima, Def 1600. Meanwhile, Natasha returned from the grave once again. Cyber Angel, Natasha, ATK 1000. So, since the target Cyber Tutu is gone, Natasha's effect fizzles, Chief Takahashi noted. Then I activate Natasha's effect again, once per turn, select a monster I control and gain LP equal to half its ATK, Alexis continued. Since Natasha returned from the grave, her effect resets. This time I choose Cyber Angel, Dakanai, now powered up to 3700 ATK, so I gain 1850 LP. Alexis, LP 6600 LP 8450. 8450 LP. Chief Takahashi looked grim. On the surface, she only had a Cyber Prima left. Next turn, Alexis could attack with the hijacked blader, then Dakanai at 3700 ATK, and Natasha directly for the win. But Chief Takahashi had a plan. Earlier, she'd discarded Shield Warrior with graceful charity. While in the grave, Shield Warrior could be banished to prevent one of her monsters from being destroyed by battle. With Shield Warrior's help, Prima could block 2 attacks and she'd only take 1000 battle damage from Natasha this turn. She still had a chance. If she could survive until her next turn. Alexis, I activate the spell Merciful Machine Angel. Chief Takahashi. She's not attacking? Merciful Machine Angel lets me tribute a Cyber Angel ritual monster from my hand or field, draw 2 cards, then place 1 card from my hand on the bottom of my deck. I tribute Cyber Angel, Natasha to draw. Natasha vanished again, and Alexis drew 2 cards. Chief Takahashi's eyes narrowed in alarm. Not because her opponent drew cards, but because Natasha had gone back to the graveyard. But for this Cyber Angel, the graveyard isn't an exit, it's home, where she can truly shine. Now Takahashi realized. This was a cyber angel who only functioned at full power in the graveyard. Quick play spell burial from a different dimension. Return up to 3 banished monsters to the graveyard, Alexis said. I return Cyber Angel, Benton and Cyber Angel, Idaten to the graveyard. Chief Takahashi. She knew exactly what was coming. But it was like the wheel of fate rolling over her. There was nothing she could do. Cyber Angel, Natasha in the grave, activate again. Alexis declared. I banish Cyber Angel, Benton to special summon Natasha. And I gain control of Chief's Cyber Prima. Cyber Angel, Natasha, ATK 1000. Again, Natasha jumped back from the graveyard to the field, gesturing imperiously. You come here. Chief Takahashi's last monster, Cyber Prima, stood up, her eyes glowing with a corrupted red light, and obediently walked to Alexis's field. Chief Takahashi. In the blink of an eye, Takahashi's field was empty, while Alex's was packed with big monsters. Yet, half of them were stolen from the other side. One was even Takahashi's ace. Battle. Alexis announced. Cyber Angel, Dakanai, direct attack. Dakanai, now at 3700 ATK, struck, leaving Takahashi pale and staggering backward. Takahashi, LP 4000 LP 300. Finally, Sensei's Cyber Blader direct attack. Blader soared forward, spinning and delivering a roundhouse kick to Takahashi's face. Takahashi fell backward. Suddenly, she just felt too tired to activate her cards. Takahashi, LP 300 LP 0. Chapter 167, Father of Duel Monsters. Takahashi, LP 0. Even Sayako, the young girl from the Cyber Association who'd come with the chief, was dazed, unable to accept what had just happened. The chief lost? And not to any other deck, but to a user of her own cyber deck and a Duel Academy student at that. To add insult to injury, the final blow came from her ace, Cyber Blader. Sayako thought for a moment. She didn't know how the chief would feel, but if it were her, she'd probably have a mental breakdown, a real one. She looked at Alexis, who was putting away her duel disc. Was that a Cyber Angel? The effect that could only activate with graveyard hopping, the absolute defense with healing and attack locks, the sheer torment to the opponent, even the devil might yield to such a card. After the duel, Alexis looked at her Natasha card in the duel disc, her expression complicated. She'd just printed the card 2 days ago, this was her first time trying it in a real duel, and she hadn't had much chance to rework her deck. The strategic guidance mostly came from Kira. When Kira first shared this interesting idea, Alexis instinctively resisted. She'd spent years playing Cyber Angels, and summoning big monsters to slug it out was in her DNA. Kira's suggestion to make a 1000 ATK, absolute defense, Zombie Angel the core felt wrong. But after trying it, Alexis had to admit a strange, inescapable feeling had taken root. Come to the dark side. It was a subtle feeling she'd never experienced in her usual exhilarating duels, hard to describe. But in the moment the duel ended, one phrase from Jaden popped into her head. That was a fun duel. Turns out, dueling like this could be fun too. Alexis took a deep breath and carefully put away Cyber Angel, Natasha, her heart racing. It felt like she'd opened the door to a new world. The experts were all satisfied with the duel, discussing it enthusiastically, and the atmosphere suddenly much lighter. Some said the Duel Academy students were outstanding, using a cyber deck to defeat the association's chief, their future was limitless. Some experts were already talking with Kira and Misawa. The conference hadn't even started, but the opening duel had already fired up the crowd. The experts discussed with smiles, especially interested in the new Cyber Angel card, asking the Duel Academy trio all sorts of questions. The usually energetic Chief Takahashi, however, was now cold and withdrawn. Strange. She should be happy today. She'd discovered a prodigy who perfectly inherited the cyber deck, and a breakthrough card that could break through the years-long stalled. 2 reasons to be happy, but why couldn't she feel it? As the conference was about to start, Tenmayako, as host, stood up, took the mic, and cleared his throat to get attention. All right. First, thanks to Duel Academy's Alexis Rhodes and the Cyber Association's Chief Takahashi for their wonderful duel. The experts all nodded in agreement. Only Chief Takahashi was expressionless. Wonderful? Enjoyable? I don't feel that way. And, the results brought by the Duel Academy student team have already been shown. I think everyone has seen their amazing breakthrough. Tenma glanced at Kira, a faint smile on his face. Kira wasn't sure what it meant but felt it was not bad for the man who defeated me look. He thought to himself. This can't go on, I need to find a way to turn this attention into profit. And I believe these young people have set a good example for us. It's an excellent inspiration. Tenma continued. The world of duel monsters is vast. We card developers are the vanguard, the pioneers, the explorers. And as explorers, our biggest taboo is to stick to the old ways, to let ourselves be trapped by established frameworks. It's dangerous to let conventional thinking restrict the possibilities of the decks we develop, and neglect the new possibilities that might exist. As Tenma spoke, the experts nodded thoughtfully. These young people showed us another way, finding a new direction apart from the old lines. I hope this will inspire us all to take duel monsters further. Well said. The voice came from above. Everyone looked up to the second floor. The speaker was elegantly dressed in a red suit, silver white hair covering half his face, his left eye hidden. Some people gasped. That's Maximilian Pegasus. It was this man who, to save his late wife, searched the world, dug up the ancient duel monsters' stone tablets in Egypt, and brought duel monsters' power into the modern era. With the rise of industrial illusions, many considered Pegasus' work the start of a new era. He was the man known as the father of duel monsters. Mr. Pegasus. He came in person. The experts all stood in respect. Everyone knew most of Industrial Illusions' affairs were now handled by Pegasus's two adopted sons, the Tenma twins, Gekko and Gekko. Pegasus himself had long retired and rarely appeared in public. No one expected to see him here today. No need to be nervous, everyone, please sit. Pegasus walked down the stairs, smiling, his single eye scanning the hall, resting on Kira and the others. He smiled. Duel Academy students? May I ask, young man, how should I address you? Chapter 168, More Experts. To Kira's surprise, Pegasus asked for his name directly, without addressing the others. Out of the corner of his eye, Kira caught a glimpse of Gekko, quietly watching from behind. Could Gekko have told Pegasus about their previous duel? Not impossible. Kira replied politely, with a hint of playful banter, Fujiki Kira. Mr. Pegasus, you can call me Kira boy. This was Pegasus's classic catchphrase in the original series. He was always calling people Yugi boy, and Kaiba boy. Now, with Pegasus as the older man, calling Kira boy made perfect sense. Pegasus burst out laughing. Very good, Kira boy. Just as Gekko said, you are an interesting duelist. Hearing Pegasus's familiar accent, just as he remembered from the anime, Kira felt at ease. As Tenma said, designing cards takes not just passion, but also boundless imagination and a pioneering spirit. Pegasus turned to address everyone. If you're content with the status quo, if you're afraid to make changes, you'll never find new paths. So, I hope everyone can be like Kira boy, open your minds, and dare to try new things. With the big boss speaking, the experts naturally chimed in support. Mr. Pegasus is right. A true role model for us researchers. Pegasus then turned, patted Kira on the shoulder, and said with a smile, I'm counting on you, Kira boy. With that, he turned and left. Beside Kira, Misawa, practically transparent the whole time, gulped and shot Kira a strange look. He'd already heard the rumors that Kira had caught Seto Kaiba's eye. Now it seemed the so-called father of duel monsters Pegasus was interested in him too. Misawa was even more convinced that his first impression had been right. From deck building, dueling, to card printing, Kira was just unscientific from head to toe. Or maybe it was precisely because of this unscientific quality that he always attracted the attention of the bigwigs wherever he went. Damn, thought Misawa. I was standing right next to him, but the big boss ignored me. Even though my grades are good, and I work hard on research. Kira fell into deep thought. It looked like Pegasus hadn't just arrived, he'd probably been secretly observing during the duel. The reason he appeared after watching the duel was likely not just because Gekko mentioned Kira, it was probably because the duel itself piqued his interest. Gekko, as the conference organizer, might have told Pegasus that, while Alexis was the main user of the cyber deck, it was Kira who guided their research. In other words, that unique Cyber Angel deck just now was probably Kira's idea. Pegasus seemed to admire it. But thinking about it, Kira realized it made sense. Back in the Duelist Kingdom, Pegasus's Toon deck was all about turning the opponent's monsters into toons. His final trump card, the Relinquished series, was an AUG-NTR card. And let's not forget when he used the Dragon Capture Jar to infuriate Kaiba. Tracing it all back, the person with the most scheming energy was probably Pegasus himself. In the hierarchy of trolling duelists, even the infamous Merrick would have to call him senpai. Kira felt a flash of insight. After all, similar stand users are drawn to each other. Maybe it was this hidden trait that attracted Pegasus's attention. Kira, looks like after today's conference, getting sponsorship from Industrial Illusions is a sure thing. The conference began, with experts taking turns introducing their team's achievements. Kira soon noticed that achievements didn't necessarily mean new cards. Many people just tested new ideas or directions, compiled into papers. After all, true innovation isn't an everyday thing, and not everyone can just see into the future. There were some new cards, but most looked like random filler inserted into card packs, utterly baffling. But that was normal. In Yu-Gi-Oh's bottomless card pool, it's easy to pull out a handful of weird, pointless cards. Today's strangest card was this one. Trap card. An unfortunate report. Effect: your opponent conducts their next battle phase twice. Kira had to admit, he didn't even remember this card existed. Is it useless? Not exactly. As some big shot once said, there are no completely useless cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Even the weirdest things have some use in the right hands. But it's hard to use and test a player's imagination. Another confusing card. Spell card. Curse of Fiend. Effect: change the battle positions of all attack position monsters on the field to defense position and vice versa. These positions cannot be changed during the turn this card is activated except by the effect of a spell, trap, or effect monster card. You can only activate this card during your standby phase. At first glance, it seemed fine, a card for forcibly changing all battle positions. But then you noticed. It's a normal spell? Can only be activated in the standby phase? But normal spells are spell speed 1, they can only be used in the main phase. In the standby phase, only traps and quick play spells, spell speed 2, can be activated. So, this card's effect is inherently contradictory, it shouldn't be usable at all. But then the presenting expert explained that, after much hard work, their team had finally found a way to allow this card to be activated by setting it face down. It could be activated in the next standby phase. Kira. Well, that's certainly an epic breakthrough. In fact, in real life, the card's ruling is the same. As an ancient card, most people think it was a printing error, but the ruling allows it to be set and activated in your next standby phase even though it's a normal spell. It's the only normal spell in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! That can be activated during the standby phase, a truly historic breakthrough. Aside from these two bizarre cards, most reports were normal, nothing too remarkable. Soon, it was Kira's team's turn. The Duel Academy student team has already demonstrated their results through today's duel, said Gekko, chairing the conference. Would you like to give a formal report as well, or? Of course, Kira replied, standing up with a smile. That was just part of what we brought today. Everyone. He exchanged a glance with Misawa, who understood and produced several pre-printed cards. Our team's research is not limited to cyber cards, Kira continued. We've also studied the relationship between zombie and yokai monsters, and have strengthened several yokai cards. The experts. Chapter 169, Legalizing the God Draw. Unsurprisingly, Kira's team received sponsorship from Industrial Illusions. But that was only natural. Even ignoring his relationship with Gekko, their team's results were impressive. The Cyber Angel results alone were enough, and Misawa had prepared findings on the zombie type. Besides the previously discussed Gozuki and Mizuki, they used these strengthened cards to prove an important fact: in this anime world, all yokai monsters are actually a subtype of zombie, and can all evolve into zombies. For yokai and zombie users, this was a groundbreaking discovery. It meant all known yokai monsters could benefit from generic zombie support, and powerful effects once limited to the niche yokai type could now apply to zombies too. This wasn't just about their own card's potential, it pointed to the future of an entire type, giving all researchers in the field a new direction. A truly pioneering discovery. Of course, for Kira it was obvious, he simply proved what he already knew. After all, yokai was an anime-only type, in the real TCG, they never existed. All yokai monsters from the original series were absorbed into the zombie type. So, he guessed this would be the case here, and just nudged Misawa to prove it. But for this world, it was a huge revelation, especially since it was made by Duel Academy freshmen, and just part of their early achievements. The experts' reactions were a string of gasps like watching a new star rise in the card design world. After the meeting, Gekko and Pegasus exchanged a few words. Pegasus glanced at Kira's group, gave a mysterious smile and nod, then left. Gekko walked over. Truly surprising, Gekko smiled. So, you have talent not just in dueling, but also in development. Just lucky, Kira shook hands, smiling. Mainly, my teammates are reliable. Misawa and Alexis blushed a little. They knew Kira was the real genius pulling them up. Well, since you're out today and HQ isn't far. Gekko invited, would you care to visit HQ for a meal? Misawa and Alexis were stunned. HQ? Could it be Industrial Illusions HQ? The birthplace of modern duel monsters, the holy land for duelists everywhere? Kira checked with them. They, of course, eagerly agreed. They couldn't miss such a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Then we'll trouble you. Not at all, Gekko smiled mysteriously. Besides, there's someone else who wants to meet you. He didn't elaborate, he just said they'd see when they arrived. After the meeting, the three followed Gekko, taking a car to Industrial Illusions. The big boss's car was different. The driver's seat was separated by a soundproof partition, creating a private space, while the back seats were spacious, soft, and springy. The sunroof was open, and gentle music played. No one spoke for the first few minutes. Midway, Gekko suddenly asked. Have you learned about the principle of quantum superposition at Duel Academy? The three exchanged glances. We haven't learned it in class, but I know a little, Misawa said cautiously. Why do you ask? Gekko smiled. No particular reason. It's just something I've been researching. I think a certain theory might relate to us duelists. He explained. There's a theory that a particle's state is uncertain before measurement, existing in a superposition of possibilities. Only upon measurement does it randomly collapse into one state. No one spoke, waiting for him to continue. In dueling, if we treat cards as particles, then at the start of a duel, the deck is in a state of uncertainty. Before the card is drawn, it exists in all possible states. Only when it is drawn does its true identity become fixed. Kira. He recalled seeing this quantum draw theory debated online among card game fans. After all, when you're stuck, blame quantum mechanics. If sci-fi movies can use it, why not Yu-Gi-Oh? Thus, the God draw is legal theory was born. For example, I have a deck of cards here. Gekko produced a deck of playing cards. He shuffled, drew the top card, and showed it. Joker, the highest card. See, I drew the best card in the deck. He put it back, reshuffled, and drew again. Still the Joker. This is just an ordinary deck, no tricks, no sleight of hand. But a third shuffle this time, he looked at the three. Would anyone like to draw a card and compare with me? Silence. Alexis said, I'll do it. She drew a card. Gekko drew one too. They revealed their cards. Gekko had the Jack of Spades, and Alexis had the Nine of Diamonds. Not bad, mine's a bit higher, Gekko smiled. But you drew pretty well too. Alexis was puzzled, I don't understand. If I'm drawing alone, it's easy to get the best card. Maybe only 2 or 3 times out of 10 will I miss. But if I'm facing a strong duelist, it's not so easy. Kira thought he understood. That's the power of duelists, Gekko said. Strong duelists have the latent ability to alter the future. But this ability only truly manifests in a duel. A high-level duel is not just a battle of decks or tactics, it's a clash of power, of fate itself. For the top duelists, the outcome can even change the future of the world. Dueling changes the world. For Kira, this was common sense, but for Misawa and Alexis, it felt distant and overwhelming. The car stopped. Just killing time, Gekko smiled, putting away the cards. If this gives you inspiration as duelists, great. If not, just take it as idle chatter. It's not a proven theory. Duel Academy probably doesn't teach this stuff yet. He got out, and the three followed. They now stood before the Industrial Illusions building. But Gekko stopped before entering. I have another request, he turned to Kira. My brother said his duel with you was very inspiring, and I've always been curious. So, I've always wanted the chance to duel you myself. Kira was stunned. Brother? Wait. You are? Oh, I'm Tenma Gekko, Gekko's twin brother. Chapter 170, Armament Reincarnation. Tenma Gekko, Gekko's twin. In the spin-off, he was mistaken for Gekko by Yugi and others, but at the time he was under Gekko's mind control. He was also called the perfect duelist by Pegasus. Misawa and Alexis held their breath. A sudden duel and the opponent is a legend. Before enrollment, they would have thought it impossible to win against someone like this. But now it was different. Come to think of it, Kira had already defeated more than one or two legends, most notably the Paradox brothers, who probably still didn't want to touch their decks for a while. In their eyes, Kira had gone from eccentric top student to the guy who beats up legends. Misawa was curious about Kira's true limits. Duel. X2. Gekko, LP 4000. Kira, LP 4000. I'll go first. Draw. Gekko played 2 cards. I set a monster in face-down defense position, then set a card in my back row. Turn end. My turn. Draw, Kira said. He drew, and immediately played Professor Crowlier. Spell card Pot of Greed, draw 2 cards. He then played his first monster. Summon Blade Knight. Blade Knight, ATK 1600. Nowadays, it might seem unremarkable, but when it was released, Blade Knight was a meta staple. Base 1600 ATK, decent for a level 4 beater. Its first effect, if you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, Blade Knight gains 400 ATK. Blade Knight's heyday was during the hand destruction era. Duelists often had few cards in hand, so Blade Knight could easily reach 2000 ATK, a solid attacker. Its second effect negates the effect of any flip monster it destroys in battle. Back then, flip monsters were a key part of the game. Cards like Morphing Jar, Fiber Jar, and Magician of Faith were all powerful, and there were many flip effect monsters for field control. So, Blade Knight's second effect was quite useful. Another important point, its light attribute, fitting for chaos decks. Blade Knight attacks your set monster. Gekko's set monster flipped up, a bespectacled elf girl with pointy ears, a short skirt, and stockings, holding a spellbook. Learning Elf, Def 1500, original card. A monster Gekko used in the show. Unlike his brother Gekko, most of Gekko's deck never got real cards. Gekko's side, with the Wicked Gods and his Barbaros series, had all been printed and got good treatment. Learning Elf's effect when sent to the graveyard, I draw a card, Gekko said. She's not a flip monster, so Blade Knight's effect doesn't negate her. The short-lived elf retreated, and Gekko drew a card. Kira took a closer look at the elf fading into light. Learning Elf. The effect is when sent to the graveyard, draw a card not just from the field. This card seems pretty good. Kira played 4 more cards in a row. I set 4 cards face down. Turn end. 4 set cards. Gekko frowned. End phase, I activate my set card trap card, 6th sense. I declare 2 numbers from 1 to 6, the opponent rolls a die. If it lands on one of my numbers, I draw that many cards. If not, I send that many cards from the top of my deck to the graveyard. Kira nodded. Declare your numbers. 5 and 6, said Gekko. The die rolled and landed on 4. 1/3 chance. No luck, Gekko said calmly. So, I send 4 cards from the top of my deck to the graveyard. He drew 4 cards and sent them to the graveyard. Now, my turn. Draw. I activate Graceful Charity, draw 3 cards, discard 2. Even in an era of Pot of Greed and Graceful Charity, Gekko was a particular fan of Graceful Charity, one of the rare characters to use 2 in a single duel. Then, I normal summon Chiron the Mage. Chiron the Mage, ATK 1800. Chiron the Mage, by discarding a spell card, I can destroy a spell/trap you control. I target your second set card from the left. He discarded a card, Chiron's staff glowed red, targeting one of Kira's back row. Kira, I activate my set card trap card breakthrough skill. Target one monster your opponent controls, its effects are negated until the end of this turn. I negate Chiron the Mage's effect. The trap activated, Chiron's staff dimmed, and the effect was cancelled. Dodged it. But the spell I discarded was Card of Compensation. Its effect lets me draw 2 cards. Gekko drew. Then, I activate Monster Reborn. With this, I revive Majestic Mech, Goryu from my graveyard. Monster sent to the graveyard by 6th sense. Misawa commented from the sidelines. He's summoning his boss monster already. Majestic Mech, Goryu is a level 8 fairy, 2900 ATK 100 less than Blue Eyes White Dragon. Very dangerous. Counter trap solemn warning. Kira didn't hesitate to play the invincible old man. Pay 2000 LP, negate the summon or effect of a monster and destroy it. I negate monster reborn. Kira, LP 4000 LP 2000. The invincible old man raised a hand not allowed. Thunder crashed down, shattering monster reborn's glyph. The would-be summoned angel faded away. Negated the boss monster very decisive. Gekko pondered. Just as the rumors said, a duelist who values disruption and resistance. Then I activate this card. Gekko raised a card and declared. Spell card Armament Reincarnation. All equip spell/trap cards in my graveyard are special summoned as monsters with 500 ATK/def. Original card. Misawa. Alexis. What? Turning equip spells/traps into monsters? Another original Gekko card, and a key one in his strategy. But with such an abstract effect, it's no wonder it never got printed. By this effect, 4 cards slid from his graveyard. I special summon the equip spells United We Stand, Axe of Despair, Jewel Sword, original card, and Mage Power as monsters. Chapter 171, Equip Monsters. Gekko, all the equip cards in my graveyard, I summon them as monsters. United We Stand, ATK 500. Axe of Despair, ATK 500. Jewel Sword, ATK 500. Mage Power, ATK 500. Misawa and Alexis were both shocked. Even for them, this was the first time seeing such a bizarre effect. On Gekko's field, 4 humanoid figures appeared, all composed of pure energy, floating and intangible. Some held swords, others axes, and one wielded a staff, instantly filling Gekko's entire field. After armament reincarnation, the subsequent effect is that these equip cards summoned this way are treated as monsters equipped with themselves, gaining the effects of those equip cards. Gekko continued. United We Stand S effect, the equipped monster gains ATK equal to the number of monsters on my field times 800. I have 5 monsters on my field, so it gains 4000 ATK. United We Stand, ATK 500 4500. Axe of Despair, the equipped monster gains 1000 ATK. Axe of Despair, ATK 500 1500. Jewel Sword, the equipped monster gains 300 ATK. Jewel Sword, ATK 500 800. Mage Power, the equipped monster gains ATK equal to the number of spell/trap cards on my field times 500, said Gekko. Since equip cards on the field are treated as both monsters and spells, I have 4 spell/trap cards, so magical powers ATK increases by another 2000. Mage Power, ATK 500 2500. And it's not over yet. Next, I activate the spell card Power Connection, said Gekko. Until the end of this turn, all equip monsters on my field boost the ATK of all other monsters of the same type by 500. Original card. This is a card Gekko uses in the manga. Armament Reincarnation plus Power Connection is his go-to combo for OTKs. I have 4 equip monsters on the field. Each grants the other 3 equip monsters 500 ATK, so each gets 1500 ATK from the other 3. United We Stand, ATK 4500 6000. Mage Power, ATK 2500 4000. Axe of Despair, ATK 1500 3000. Jewel Sword, ATK 800 2300. Misawa and Alexis's expressions changed, so many powerful monsters all at once. Monsters with 6000 and 4000 ATK, Misawa said gravely, and it's only his second turn. This is the power of a legendary duelist. Battle. Gekko declared. United We Stand, attack Blade Knight. With 6000 ATK, if United We Stand lands a punch, it's an instant KO. Then I activate my set card, the trap card Relieve Monster. Said Kira. Return a monster on my field to my hand, then special summon a level 4 or lower monster from my hand. I return Blade Knight to my hand. Blade Knight turned into a golden beam and narrowly escaped under immense pressure. Then I special summon Apprentice Magician in defense position. Apprentice Magician, def 800. Using monster alternation to defend? Then I'll keep attacking Apprentice Magician. United We Stand landed a punch, shattering apprentice magician. As expected, Kira's side triggered a floating golden light by its last will effect. Apprentice magician's effect: when destroyed by battle, I set a level 2 or lower spell caster from my deck in a face-down defense position. I set a second apprentice magician. Gekko frowned, then I'll use Chiron the mage to destroy the second apprentice magician. A red beam from the staff obliterated the face-down monster, but yet another golden light shot out. Kira, then I set a third apprentice magician. At this rate, you'll run out of apprentice magicians in your deck. Gekko smiled. I still have 3 monsters left that haven't attacked. As long as one attack goes through, it's over. Kira nodded, that does seem to be the case. And you're not even nervous, meaning you still have something up your sleeve. Gekko looked a bit excited and waved his hand to continue, then Dual Sword, attack the third apprentice magician. The sword light fell, and the face-down monster was destroyed again. But another golden beam immediately shot out. Kira, this time, I set the dark attribute level 2 old vindictive magician face down. Gekko said, Axe of Despair, attack. The energy humanoid wielding an axe swung down with immense force, splitting the face-down monster in two. Before exiting the field, the old vindictive magician managed to swing his staff, shooting a cursed beam of light from it. Old vindictive magician, flip effect activates, Kira said. When flipped, destroy one monster on the opponent's field. I destroy mage power being used as a monster. The cursed light pierced through the translucent energy humanoid, and the only equipped monster on Gekko's field that hadn't yet attacked mage power was instantly shattered. You even managed to defend against all that. Impressive. Now I indeed have no monsters left to attack with. Gekko drew 2 cards. Then I set 2 cards face down and end my turn. He smiled slightly, no wonder Yako holds you in such high regard. Then, at the end phase, I activate a set card, the trap card Balance of Judgment, said Kira. If the number of cards on your field exceeds the total of my hand and field, I draw cards from my deck equal to the difference. Gekko, I have 4 monsters and 2 set cards on my field. And I have 2 cards in my hand, and only Balance of Judgment on my field, said Kira. So, I draw 3 cards. Kira drew 3 cards in one go, and the image of his back row trap faded. Now it's my turn. Draw. Kira drew again. I summon Disciple of Nephthys, defense position. Disciple of Nephthys, def 2000. Disciple of Nephthys effect, once per turn, I can destroy a card in my hand to add a Nephthys monster except itself from my deck to my hand. So, I destroy a card in my hand to add Chronicler of Nephthys from my deck to my hand. After searching his deck, Kira played 2 more cards. Then I set 2 cards and end my turn. Going for a more defensive setup. Gekko glanced at his opponent's back row, then at the Nephthys in defense. He had destroyed a card in hand to search. Destroyed card. Gekko pondered. My turn. Draw, Gekko said. I activate the spell card Pot of Greed to draw 2 more cards. Gekko frowned slightly. There was some defensive trick in the opponent's back row, but he currently had no cards to remove them. As a duelist, he could only attack boldly at this moment. Battle. Gekko declared. First, united we stand, attack Chronicler of Nephthys. Last turn, Power Connections effect only lasted 1 turn, and now there are only 4 monsters on the field. United we stand S effect is now 4 times 800 equals 3200 ATK increase. Adding its base 500 ATK, its ATK is now 3700. United we stand, ATK 3700. I activate the trap Waboku, said Kira. This turn, my monsters cannot be destroyed by battle, and battle damage is 0. United we stand S punch struck but hit a transparent barrier to no effect. So, an absolute defense trap. Then there's no point in continuing the battle phase. My battle phase ends, but my turn continues. Gekko played another card. I tribute the Jewel Sword on my field to tribute summon. Level 5, Catapult Turtle. Kira raised an eyebrow. Another tricky card enters the field. Chapter 172, Endless Equip Assault. Catapult Turtle, summoned. Kira frowned slightly. Even Catapult Turtle is here. No need to elaborate, this is a legendary monster that has left its mark on Yu-Gi-Oh! History. Not only is it known as one of Yugi Muto's signature monsters, but it's also been a staple in various FTK, first turn kill, combo decks, a soul card for countless combo players. Dual Swords effect, when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, draw one card from the deck. Original card. This is also an equip card used by Chaz against Kira in the Moonlight Cup. Now for Catapult Turtle's effect, Gekko said. By tributing monsters on my field, I can inflict damage to my opponent equal to half the tribute monster's ATK. Old effect. The key point is that this effect isn't once per turn, which is why it became a crucial part of various FTK combos. Of course, this effect was nerfed in 2014. The new effect adds a once per turn limit, greatly weakening it. But in this world, Catapult Turtle has no such restriction. Damn it, Waboku prevents battle damage and destruction, so he's switched to effect damage. Kira only has 2000 LP, and Mr. Gekko has plenty of ammo on his field. Misawa's expression grew grave. This is the power of a legendary duelist, Alexis said, getting nervous for Kira. Even Waboku can't stop Mr. Gekko's offensive rhythm. She glanced at Kira worriedly. Can Kira withstand this move? First, united we stand. Gekko said. Tribute united we stand to inflict damage equal to half its ATK. United we stand still has 3700 ATK, so this attack will deal massive damage. But Kira snapped his fingers. Counter trap, Divine Wrath. Kira declared. Discard a card from my hand to negate the effect of an effect monster and destroy it. He selected a card and sent it to the graveyard. The field was filled with dark clouds. Flashes of lightning and silver serpents danced. A divine thunderbolt shot from the clouds, shattering Catapult Turtle. You even blocked that. Impressive. Gekko raised his arm to block the shock and dust, smiling slightly. But since I summoned Catapult Turtle this turn, I activate the spell card of Heaven and Earth from my hand. Original card. A magic card appeared in front of Gekko. If I conducted a tribute summon this turn, I draw 2 cards. But cards drawn this way cannot be used this turn, and if possible, at least one must be set. Gekko drew 2 more cards. Next, I activate my set spell card. He waved his hand. Spell card Armament Reincarnation. Original card. As the card flipped, more equip cards appeared on his field. Misawa was shocked, a second copy. Kira was also surprised but quickly understood. For a key card in a deck strategy, of course, you'd run more than one if possible. I don't need to explain the effect again, Gekko said. I revive United We Stand, Mage Power, and Dual Sword from the graveyard as equip monsters with 500 ATK/def. United We Stand, ATK 500. Mage Power, ATK 500. Dual Sword, def 500. They gain their respective equip effects and boost their ATK. Gekko said. With 5 monsters on my field, United We Stand gains 4000 ATK. I have 4 equips up front and 1 set card in the back, for 5 spells/traps total. Mage Power gains 2500 ATK. United We Stand, ATK 500 4500. Mage Power, ATK 500 3000. This time, Dual Sword is summoned in defense position. Then I set 3 cards to my back row. Gekko shouted. At this moment, the number of spells/traps on the field increases, so Mage Power gains another 1500 ATK. Mage Power, ATK 3000 4500. In an instant, he's back to this formation. Misawa took a deep breath. 2 monsters with 4500 ATK again. Fortunately, the battle phase is over this turn, and Waboku prevents Gekko from further attacks for now. Alexis stayed silent, but she was thinking the same thing as Misawa. Legendary duelists are terrifying. Her eyes couldn't help but shift to Kira. He still looked the same as always, showing no change in expression. She'd noticed this long ago. Kira's duels always had a strange calmness, no matter who the opponent was. Whether facing a pro or a rookie, a legend or not, it seemed to him they were all just duel opponents. His duels never felt tense or passionate. It was as if he was just playing randomly, and somehow always ended up winning. So, like Alexis, many at the academy felt he'd never actually gone all out against anyone. She'd always thought it was because of his absolute confidence, built on his strength, that maybe he just didn't think any opponent at the academy was worth his full effort. But now, even facing this level of opponent, he's still the same. Chapter 173, Spell Canceller. My turn. Draw, Kira said. At the start of my standby phase, the effect of Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys in my graveyard activates. When Phoenix God is destroyed by an effect and sent to the graveyard, it's reborn from the ashes during my next standby phase. Gekko's expression shifted. Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys? When did that? He quickly realized he remembered the card destroyed the last turn that had caught his attention. The Disciple of Nephthys destroyed. That's right. The card destroyed by Disciple of Nephthys last turn was Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys, Kira said. And since it was destroyed by an effect, not discarded, Phoenix God's effect can trigger. Rise from the ashes in a blaze of divine fire. Gekko frowned, so you can destroy it from your hand to trigger its resurrection. Blazing divine fire gathered in the sky, as red as a burning sunset, like molten iron in a forge. The scorching beam pierced the clouds, transforming into the form of a fiery divine bird. Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys, ATK 2400. Misawa instantly realized, that's right. Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys can destroy all spells and traps on the field, and all those equipped cards on Mr. Gekko's field are still spells. Alexis understood too. Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys is the nemesis of this equip combo. Kira raised his arm, the divine bird blazing behind him. Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys' effect, when revived this way, destroy all spells and traps on your opponent's field. Using the Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys against Armament Reincarnation effect. Gekko frowned. The most troublesome monster for me right now. But... He raised his arm and flipped a set card. Activate Trap Illusory Shackles. Original card. A magic circle emerged from the trap, binding Phoenix God. Its flames dimmed, as if shackled and unable to break free. Illusory Shackles curses a monster on the field. Gekko said. That monster's effects are negated, and its ATK drops by 500. Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys, ATK 2400-1900. Alexis sighed in regret, so close. If Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys' effect went through, it would have wiped the field. But Kira wasn't surprised at all. After all, at this level, with 4 equip monsters up front and 4 set cards in the back, it would have been strange if there was no countermeasure. Main phase. I activate the spell card Advance Draw, Kira said. Tribute a level 8 or higher monster on my field to draw 2 cards. I tribute the cursed Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys to draw 2 cards. Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys dissolved into light and disappeared, the light scattering into the deck. Kira drew 2 more cards. He glanced at one of the cards he drew, and the corners of his mouth turned up slightly. Here it comes. Gekko instinctively sensed something was wrong. Did he just draw a game changer? I activate the spell card Graceful Charity, draw 3 cards, then discard 2 from my hand to the graveyard. Kira drew, then discarded 2 cards. Next, I summon this card. I tribute Disciple of Nephthys on my field. Kira slapped a card onto the dual disc. Tribute Summon. The Bane of Spells, the magic sealing weapon. Spell Canceller, summoned. Spell Canceller, 1800 ATK. Nanny. Gekko lost his composure. Spell Canceller? He actually pulled that out now. That's right. While Spell Canceller is on the field, neither of us can activate spell cards, and all spell effects on the field are negated. Kira explained. The effect of Armament Reincarnation is to summon equip cards from the graveyard as monsters, and their equip effects become their monster effects. But they're still spell cards, so all their effects are negated by Spell Canceller. Yeah, this would be a nightmare for the rulings department in real life. Maybe that's why Armament Reincarnation never became a real card. If he had to guess, if it were made real, maybe it would summon tokens and equip the equip cards from the grave to them, which would be more logical. But this is the anime world, so it's still the original effect. Kira knew about this iconic strategy before the duel, which is why Spell Canceller was added as a tech against it. Otherwise, Spell Canceller wouldn't normally be in his Chaos Nephthys deck. Spell monsters are rare, but can be treated similarly to trap monsters, which are both trap and monster cards and are affected by effects for both. So, spell monsters should be the same. Now, all your equip monsters lose their effect boosts, Kira said. Their ATK and def return to their base 500. United we stand, ATK 4500-500. Mage Power, ATK 4500-500. Axe of Despair, ATK 1500-500. Except for Jewel Sword, which was summoned in defense position, all the other equips went from mighty monsters to 500 ATK sitting ducks. Now, chaining to spell canceller's summon, I activate my set card. Gekko responded immediately. Trap card Torrential Tribute. When a monster is summoned, destroy all monsters on the field. At this moment, using Torrential Tribute is a huge loss for him. He has 5 monsters, and Kira only has 1. Counting his Torrential Tribute, it's a 6-for-1. But he sensed that if he didn't do this, leaving a field full of 500 ATK monsters, he might not survive the next turn. And even if he did, if he missed this timing, he might be too suppressed by the spell lock to retaliate next turn. A surging blue torrent, like a roaring flood, swept across the field like 1,000 galloping horses. Though he lost everything, Spell Canceller went out in a blaze of glory, trading itself for an entire army. Gekko's half of the field exploded one after another in a spectacular scene. Total annihilation. Such decisiveness. I've used my normal summon for this turn, so I can't summon another monster. But Kira calmly drew another card. I banish the light monster Blade Knight I discarded this turn, and the dark monster Apprentice Magician in my graveyard. Gekko's eyelid twitched. Is the assault not over yet? And this summoning method, these requirements could it be? With the souls of light and darkness as a tribute to the field of chaos, I summon the legendary strongest warrior. The world splits. Kira raised his monster card, a blinding golden light bursting forth. Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, descends. Amid the chaos, the blade of light and dark splits the sky. Light and darkness intertwine like yin and yang, cutting through chaos, as the armored warrior wields his sword, descending like a divine weapon. Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, ATK 3000. Gekko's face grew serious. After clearing the field, he immediately summons Blackluster Soldier. Blackluster Soldier, direct attack. Kira declared. Chaos Duel Slash. A wave of light and darkness surged, the sword pointing to the sky. The powerful surge formed a vortex of intertwined light and dark, transforming into countless sword shadows sweeping across Gekko. Ugh! The multi-dimensional sword illusion struck Gekko, staggering him back several steps and dropping him to one knee, clutching his chest. Gekko, LP 4000 LP 1000. Kira, then, I set a card and end my turn. Chapter 174, The Artificial Angel Descends. My turn. Draw. As it came back around to Gekko's turn, he took a moment to steady his breathing. The spell canceller was truly unexpected. It was a hard counter to his armament strategy, a monster that could single-handedly shut down his key tactics, a real headache for Gekko. If his deck was built entirely around armament reincarnation, drawing this matchup could have spelled disaster. But a true expert never bets everything on just one strategy. Naturally, Gekko's deck still held other possibilities. No wonder both Sito Kaiba and Yako immediately noticed how unusual you are. I haven't met such a worthy opponent in a long time. Gekko spoke seriously. But I'm far from reaching my limit. I activate my set card, the trap card Good Goblin Housekeeping. He triggered one of the traps in his back row. I can draw a number of cards from my deck equal to the number of Good Goblin Housekeeping in my graveyard +1, then choose a card from my hand to return to the bottom of my deck. Currently, there were 0 copies of Good Goblin Housekeeping in Gekko's graveyard, so he'd draw one card, then return a card from his hand to the bottom of the deck. Now I chain a second one. Gekko said, another trap card Good Goblin Housekeeping. And that's not all, I chain this card. Gekko quickly revealed another card in hand. Quick play spell Emergency Provisions. I send any number of spell/trap cards I control to the graveyard, and gain 1000 life points for each. He pointed to the 2 Good Goblin Housekeeping already activated. I sent both to the graveyard, gaining 2000 LP. Gekko, LP 1000 LP 3000. Top commentator Misawa, with his professional insight, immediately realized the trick to this combo. Incredible. Removing traps from the field doesn't affect their resolution. Because Emergency Provisions sends the Good Goblin Housekeeping cards to the graveyard before their effects resolve, both copies are already in the graveyard when the effect resolves. Gekko, so, for each Good Goblin Housekeeping, I draw cards equal to the number of copies in my graveyard +1, that's 3 cards each. A total of 6 cards drawn, then I return 2 cards from my hand to the bottom of the deck. Gekko swept his arm grandly, drawing 6 cards in one go. At the same time, he replenished his hand and recovered his LP. Alexis couldn't help but be impressed. So skilled at using the rules of dueling. Misawa said nothing but stole another glance at Kira. He remembered Kira had said he'd beaten Gekko's brother, Tenmayako. The more he realized how powerful the opponent was, the more terrifying it seemed. Did this guy beat someone like Gekko's brother? Spell card Graceful Charity. Draw 3, then discard 2. Gekko picked 2 cards to discard. But one of them quickly flashed with a golden glow and returned. One of the discarded cards is another learning elf. Gekko said. When this card goes to the graveyard, I draw a card. Original card. He drew another card. Gekko smiled slightly. When Yako first told me about you, I found it hard to believe, but now I'm convinced. You're truly a special duelist, Fujiki Kira. Just like Yako felt in his duel, I too feel that urge to go all out, to push myself to my limits just to beat you. He closed his eyes briefly. It's strange. We've only just met, but it's like I'm standing before a mountain I must try my best to climb. Misawa and Alexis exchanged glances. They seemed to understand Gekko's feelings. They'd dueled Kira before and felt that same sense after just a few turns. It felt like running into a wall, and then realizing you're facing a towering peak. And then, they couldn't help but go all out, trying every way to break through. Of course, in the end, they lost. They'd thought only they felt this way. But it seemed even legendary duelists felt the same. You flatter me. I'm nothing special, just doing my best, Kira replied politely. I'm learning and improving with every duel. Doing your best, is that all? Gekko smiled mysteriously. But he didn't continue, instead changing the topic. Let's confirm this further. I activate the effect of Angel 01 from my hand. Gekko revealed a card. Angel 01 can be special summoned from the hand by revealing a level 7 or higher monster in my hand. He then revealed another card. I reveal the level 7 Angel 07 in my hand, and special summon Angel 01. Angel 01, ATK 200. Kira glanced at the angel card Gekko had revealed. Angel 07, Gekko's ace monster in the original manga. He remembered this one. While not widely used in the real game, it was well known for lockdown strategies. When Angel 07 is tribute summoned and on the field, all monsters cannot activate their effects. Just for its lockdown, even today it's a powerful field mute. Kira frowned slightly. It looked like something troublesome was about to appear. Then I normal summon a second Angel 01. Angel 01, ATK 200. Second effect, while there's a special summoned Angel 01 on my field, I get an extra tribute summon for a level 7 or higher monster. So, I tribute both Angel 01. Guardian with steel wings, awaken now. The 2 little angels vanished in a storm of tribute. White armor reflected dazzling light, white halos and armor shining together, forming a sacred domain of pure white light. Angel 07, summon. Angel 07, ATK 2500. The artificial angel descended, its holy light rapidly expanding until it covered the whole field of forbidden domain. Chapter 175, What did you just summon? Angel 07, summoned. Gekko, while Angel 07 is on the field, all monsters you control cannot activate their effects. Original effect. So that's its original effect, Kira realized. He only remembered the real card's effect, which was even stricter. It blocks all monster effects, no matter where they are. But the real card is a double-edged sword. It mutes both players. In the manga, it only mutes the opponent. Also, the real card only works if tribute summoned, but here, even special summon works. If the summoning conditions are easier, this kind of lockdown becomes scary. That's Mr. Gekko's ace. Misawa gulped. It's very strong. But its ATK still isn't enough to beat Black Luster's soldier. But Gekko cut him off. I activate the spell card Allure of Darkness, draw 2 cards, then banish a dark monster from my hand. Gekko drew 2 cards. Then I banish the Dark Belial, Marquis of Darkness from my hand. He held up a card, and it vanished into a swirling black vortex. But then I activate the equip spell DDR. Different Dimension Reincarnation. Gekko said. By discarding a card, I can special summon a banished monster in attack position. He discarded a card. So, I revive Belial, Marquis of Darkness. The dimensional vortex opened again, and a Marquis with dark wings descended from the darkness, wielding a huge black sword as black feathers floated down. Belial, Marquis of Darkness, ATK 2800. Also one of the key monsters for both Tenma brothers in the manga. And I'm not done. Now I banish these two rock-type monsters from my hand, Dogu and the Rock Spirit. As the two rock monsters vanished into the vortex, the duel arena's ground split open. Enormous rocks exploded up, deafening crashes, and then a giant figure slowly emerged. A giant made of stone, emanating a cold and unyielding aura. It stood tall, towering into the clouds. Earth Giant, Gaia Plate, summoned. Gaia Plate, the Earth Giant, ATK 2800. Kira looked over, surprised. But considering Gekko is one of the heads of the world's leading card company, maybe it's not surprising he has all sorts of rare cards. This is my full power. Gekko shouted. First, Gaia, attack Black Luster Soldier, envoy of the beginning. Alexis gasped, attacking with a lower ATK monster? There must be a trick. Gaia's effect, the monster it battles has its ATK halved during damage calculation. Black Luster Soldier, envoy of the beginning, ATK 3000-1500. The stone giant's punch was earth-shaking. Black Luster Soldier's shield was shattered, and he disappeared in golden light. Kira, LP 2000 LP 700. Angel 07, direct attack. Gekko called. He still had two big monsters left for direct attacks. Victory seemed close. But, just as his brother Yako had once experienced when victory seemed at hand, Gekko felt this attack wouldn't go through so easily. Kira, I activate my set card, quick play spell Scapegoat. I special summon 4 sheep tokens for defense. Sheep token, def 0x4. As expected. Gekko frowned slightly. Then Belial, Marquis of Darkness and Angel 07 will each destroy a sheep token. His remaining monsters struck, slicing apart the blue and red sheep, which burst into light. Gekko let out a long breath. Still not quite enough. My turn ends. But this was his limit. Phew, that was close, Kira smiled. Mr. Gekko, you sure keep the pressure on. Such fierce offense is hard to withstand. Pressure? Gekko was silent. He couldn't sense any pressure coming from Kira. After thinking for a moment, Gekko smiled lightly. May I ask you a question, Kira-kun? What is it? It's nothing serious, just curiosity. Gekko asked softly. When was the last time you fought a duel at your full strength? Kira. Misawa and Alexis both looked at him, curious as well. But Kira just smiled helplessly. I don't know why everyone says that, but I'm taking things very seriously against you, Mr. Gekko. I see. Sorry if I overstepped. Gekko nodded, not pushing further. My turn. Draw. Kira looked at the card he drew and immediately played it. Spell card spell books from the pot. Both players draw 3 cards. Original card. After drawing, he took a deep breath. All right. Since Mr. Gekko feels that way, I'll summon one of this deck's strongest trump cards this turn to break through this situation. I think this should prove that I'm being serious, right? Gekko immediately perked up, his nerves on edge, ready for anything. One of his strongest cards? He immediately thought of the record Yako had shared about their last duel. The card that utterly defeated Yako, the latest, most overpowered form of Black Luster Soldier. Is he going to summon that now? Kira had already played one card. Spell card Metamorphosis. I tribute a monster on my field to special summon a fusion monster of the same level. He pointed at one of his sheep tokens. I tribute a level 1 sheep token to transform. With the ritual of sacrifice, I summon the alluring eye. Level 1, 1000 eyes restrict, summoned. Gekko. What the heck did you just summon?
Thanks for listening.